day? I think it has. Um, I just put out a video where I answered a lot of the comments going way back. You know, typical stuff, agreeing with some people, disagreeing with other people, letting other people know that they're possibly retarded, and which is even worse than just normally being wrong, you know, when you actively choose to be wrong. Right now, I am just painting up a couple of fireplaces. Why? I don't know. I feel like every dungeon needs a fireplace somewhere in it, whether it's the boss's lair or where the orcs cook their food or whatever. You got to have a fireplace, you know? You got to think about this. But then again, I'm the kind of guy that'll put an empty room in a dungeon. And when the players open the room, he'll just have like a mop and a bucket and, a broom. So basically, it's just a cleaning closet. Because while orcs and goblins might not be super interested in keeping their lair clean, I believe hobgoblins would probably be very interested and keeping a nice, clean, organized lair, what with them being, lawful evil and all. The lawful part, is what I'm focusing on. I think I'm going to invite my brother to join me. We'll see if he's even awake. Hey, James Lowry, how you doing, bro? I'm getting ready to go see if I can wake my brother up, which means I'm not looking at screen for a second while I go to his messenger account and send a link, which he will probably, he was online an hour ago, so he should be. Hate not having a mouse. I know I keep complaining about, but then every time I'm thinking about I'm at the store or something, I forget to just buy a mouse. It's pretty stupid of me, It's like I only think about it when I'm actually sitting in front of the computer. It's like out of sight, out of mind. Doing fine. Well, good to hear, man. Good to hear. I am blah. My wife and one of my brothers, went to get something for us to eat. And I'm sitting here in a pair of beat up shorts and my old shirt, painting terrain. So hopefully they'll get back and I'll see what they have. I told them to get me something small, like an app, because my wife made homemade enchiladas the other night and I ate those. So when I got up this morning, but yeah, went to Bears channel last night, watched him for a little bit. And then went to bed. That's one thing I've been I stayed up all night that one night, like all night and all day. So now I've kind of got my sleep schedule back to normal. And I'm waiting for my resin to show up. I ordered half a gallon of resin. And I learned something with this resin it's Frozon. Even though it says water rinsable, if you actually want best results, you can rinse it in water. And then after you rinse it in water, I've got a spray bottle full of IPO or IPA, not IPO. And I spritz the miniature down while it's still in the on the sprue, the build plate. I spritz it down real well. Hey, Code Inferno, how you doing, bro? Long time no see. Yeah, I remember telling you guys I was having a hard time with this resin because it always felt sticky. Like no matter how much I put it through my UV light, it just always felt like it wasn't quite cured. So I went online and I looked, and they're like, yeah, water rinsable is kind of a misnomer with this stuff. You can rinse it off in water and it will, the resin will rinse away, but then it will still leave kind of this film. And in order to get rid of the film, you have to spritz it with a little alcohol, let it sit for a couple minutes, then run the water again. And now it's like no problem. You know what I mean? So I just painted the fire that's going to go in the fireplaces because they were separate. And now I've got these really simple. These skeletons required no supports or anything to do. They're armored skeletons. I don't think they're as cool looking as my Otherworld miniature skeletons are, but they're pretty cool. And since I had the resin to use, I did. So I printed out about 8 of them. Did you read the news about the terrorist attack in India? No, I did not. The last news I read about India was that JD Vance and his family went over there and they had nothing but wonderful things to say. They were like, I guess they got along really well with Modi, and they're talking about working out trade deals. And JD Vance said that his sons told him that American curry is good, or American Indian food is good, but Indian food is really, really good, according to what one of his sons said, which I can only imagine would be true. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but Code or Call of Duty, JD Vance's wife is Hindu, Indian. I don't know if I've never heard of any particular caste or anything like that, but yeah, she's Indian. So for him, it was like a huge deal to, take her to see the Taj Mahal and all that stuff. But I've heard of no terrorist attacks. I would like to say this, though, and this is for everyone, right? Did anyone ever foresee the day when our first lady would be, or our vice president's wife, so the second lady, I guess, would be Indian, like from India, not, from the reservations? And the director of the FBI is Indian as well, Kash Patel. So these people keep calling Trump, the no word and the little mustache man and this and that. But every time I think about all the people that work for him, it's like, I don't think that the no German guy would surround himself with Indians and, Hindis and, black people and half Hawaiians. And, it just doesn't seem like a thing he would do based on the little bit of history I know. Kashmir. Yeah, JD Vance, in the speech I saw him give right before he got on the airplane, said that he had talked to Modi about the US giving help or something with the terrorists in Kashmir. So maybe he inadvertently triggered it. Maybe they thought, oh shit, we better murder everybody, while we got the chance. Now, the thing in Kashmir, what is that? Is that, and of course, I'll believe you because you actually, live there in that area. Is that Islam versus Hindus? Is that their issue? Because, like a lot of Americans, I will be honest, I know a little bit about India. And by a little bit, that's exactly what I mean. A little bit. I know a little bit. I know like the kind of stuff D&D nerds and history nerds would know. But I don't know the ins and outs about every damn thing that goes on in a country that's huge as hell. And if it isn't the most populated country in the world, is well on its way to being the most populated country in the world. And I think it's amazing if America and India, which you and I talked about this before, if America and India can draw closer together as trade partners, it's going to flip the whole world upside down. You know what I mean? The whole world. Because why buy cheap Chinese goods when you can buy goods from India that are probably much better constructed? And what did you get me, baby?
I brought you Monsters.
Oh, well.
And I brought you fried bologna sliders.
Nice. My wife brought me some fried bologna. Isn't that nice of her? I love fried bologna. Well, yeah, you can say that, but it was peaceful for the last 4 to 5 years. I think this attack will cause a war between another one, right? Well, I mean, not for nothing, but every time Pakistan and India goes to war, India whips their ass. So at a point, you would think the Pakistanis would be like, look, we need to calm down. Yeah, you probably not something you can eat. I don't know if you are really hardcore about. I mean, I had a friend, actually a couple of friends a long time ago that were Hindu, and yeah, they were really strict about what they ate. Like the sister was a straight up vegetarian, but the brother would eat chicken. So Sanjay was his name. And I don't know what the sister ever went on to do, but the brother went on to become a rocket scientist for real. Like, for real, he worked on spaceships. But they used to hang out at the comic shop. And yeah, see, and as far as also to enjoy eating that, for those of you who don't know, bologna in the American South is called the poor man's steak. Nice.
They've got beer cheese on it too.
Okay. Yeah, it's the poor man's steak because, if you grew up dirt poor the way I did, then, you ate bologna. At the risk of offending some, and, it's like, I don't mean to offend, but if you are offended, maybe look deep into your own heart and figure things out. Islam cannot get along with anyone anywhere. What's up, Satya? It's like they take over Syria. The first thing they start doing is killing all the Yazidi Christians and Druze. They live in that area where Call of Duty Inferno is from, and it's them constantly going after Christians and Hindus. They live in the southern part of the Russian Federation, and they're constantly going after Orthodox Christians. They just literally, throughout the entire world, wherever they live, they cannot seem to just chill the F out and get along with everybody. And, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But that just seems to be if they're not the majority and in complete and total control of everything, then they do bullshit. Satya, how you doing, homie? Probably again late for you since you're around the world. But yeah, man. I know the Swedish government recently came out and said that the mass immigration thing was over. They're done with it because, it hasn't helped them at all. It just drove up the instance of violent crime and made some cities damn near unlivable, mostly for native Swedes. Like Malmo is a hellhole, everybody knows that. And it's like in small numbers, like if you have a very small population of Muslims, then they'll get along. But as soon as they hit that mass, a certain number, they just want to be dicks to everyone. Almost 11:30. Yeah, that's pretty late. Oh man. But going back to gaming a little bit, I got my body lost in such a dangerous. Not only did I get my body lost, but I got my boat destroyed. So I respawned in Valheim with no gear, no boat, no nothing, trapped in the swamp, and with no way to quickly get anywhere. And so I just somehow, I don't even know how, but somehow, after dying quite a few times trying, ran completely across the swamp, got my body, had all kinds of Draugr chasing me and various other things. And thank you, George. Unfortunately, no, I'm married, so I could never be a monk and live on Mount Athos. I could go to Greece and visit Mount Athos, but my wife would have to stay behind. You had 3 games this week. Nice. I got my game tomorrow. And so I'm looking forward to that. I've been painting up miniatures of monsters I think we're going to need. And yeah, just getting ready. Just reading and getting ready. And I'll tell you what, there's a monster in this mission that they could encounter that worries me a lot. Like, I'm talking total party kill worries me. But we'll see. We'll see. The models arrived. Well, I guess you can paint them while you're waiting for the books. Now, I will tell you one thing. I don't know how many models you bought, But I will tell you this, you don't need that many. Like, and I know this makes me a huge hypocrite to say because I have so many, but in reality, you don't need that many. Yes, same George. It would be amazing. Blue Dragon resolution time. See, you pay attention. And here he is. Here he is getting ready to boom, drop down. Well, he already is strafing, and so we'll see what happens. I mean, my hopes are with the party because even though I'm the DM and I always roll in the open and I'm always 100% fair with the rules, I still want the players to actually win. It's just I won't help them. My wife's taking a bite of my sandwich because we have this thing in my family called the tax.
It's a tax.
And the tax is basically no matter what I order, she gets a bite of it. Unless it's something that, you know, she's had multiple times. So what do you think? Good?
Fried bologna and beer cheese on onion buns.
Nice. But
I think you'll like it.
same here, Ironcaster. I've got my special primer brush and my Vallejo Black because the miniatures I'm doing today are going to be mostly metallics. So those miniatures I tend to do black. Got some dwarves, some halflings, some gnomes, giant weasel. I already had a giant weasel, but I found another one that I like better. So I had to, you know. And the reason the giant weasel is important is because one of the gnome players has made friends with the giant weasel. And the giant weasel and he kind of adventure together. Now, the giant weasel, depending on his saving throw, might survive the lightning blast because they got a little bit more hit points than the horse. So we'll see. The weasel might survive. You do airbrushing? Our sandwich, right? Like the meme, my sandwich versus our sandwich is like America and then the Soviet Union. Yeah, exactly. Our sandwich. But hey, you know, it's the price you pay. And since she paid for it, I mean, you know. But got my chores to do here later. Even though I already mopped the floor and everything like on Wednesday, it was because I was sick on the weekend. So I'm going to do it again. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? The floors get extra clean. You know, I mean, so that would be good. Right. My dog's in there carrying on. Every time my wife leaves the house, even if I stay home with him, he acts like, you know, he's been abandoned somewhere or something. It's like, calm down, you sissy. But let's see. Yeah, I got an airbrush, but I've never brought it in and probably never will. See, in our old house, the airbrush was inside. And I used it at my desk pretty much nonstop. But when we moved to the newer house, I put it out in the garage and never brought it in. But I don't know. I don't mind hand primering my miniatures. Oh, well, chat. We'll see what chat says. My favorite AD&D modules, probably Lost Tomb of Sajkanth or whatever. That's a favorite of mine. White Plume Mountain is a favorite of mine. The giant modules are pretty amazing. I like the giant modules a lot. I also remember as a kid, a long time ago, having a lot of fun running the D series. I don't know how I'd feel about it now because I'm a little bit more grounded, I guess. But when I was a kid, the whole idea of the adventures going into the deep underdark and fighting drow and all the other things down there was really exciting. I'm trying to remember the name of the other module that I really had a lot of fun with. It takes place in the Armidio jungle south in Greyhawk. And there's like an abandoned ruined city and everything. I'm just going on and on. The reality is, though, Satya, my favorite adventure for D&D of all time is B2 Keep on the Borderland. And yeah, the D is the drow. And the G series or giant series and the D series, you can link them together. As a matter of fact, you can take the A series against the slave lords, link it to the G series, and then link it to the D series. Because there's a recurring villain, I believe, in all of them. Evklavda or whatever, the drow priestess. So, yeah. Yep. Let me hit the button and turn my UV light on. Luckily, it's all sealed. So, the G series is really good, especially for Dwellers of the Forbidden City. That's it. Okay. All right. Yeah, here's Lost Tombs of Sajkanth. I'm a huge fan. But let's see. I got a bunch of, I believe these are AD&D stuff up here too. I got a reprint of the Fiend Folio. Actually, some good monsters in here. I'm a huge fan of the Grimlocks specifically, but there's some other stuff in here that's really good. The Slad and Shadow Demon, dun, 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 which of course is the servant of Venger. He's a 7+3 hit die creature. Damn. He's tough. So, yeah. Then it has a list of who created what. The Bullywug was created by Luke and Gary Gygax. I didn't know that. And I'm a huge fan of the Bullywug. I think it's a completely underused monster. A completely underused monster. Let's see. Bullywugs. Number appearing 10 to 8. Hit die 1. The Bunyip. They're just putting all kinds of stuff in there. This one, I don't know if you'll ever. I'm sure it would come with a warning on it. Forgotten Realms City of Gold. Because, you know, you travel across the sea to the New World and start running amok. And with modern whatevers, you know, people would be like freaking out about that. Here we go. D1 and 2. Descent into the depths of the earth. There's an encounter in here that's like so cool. Fire newts are cool. Or maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's in D3. The Beautiful Garden. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. The Beautiful Garden. Yeah, this one more details the Kuatoans temple. Plus, it's got some original tournament characters that you can choose to play. I like to take the original tournament characters, like the stats given on them, and write them up on OSC Advanced character sheets and just keep them laying around just in case someone dies in the game. I mean, these guys are all like on average level 7, level 12 thief, but I mean, you know. So, yeah, I do that sometimes. When I'm bored, I'll sit down and copy some. This is the little book from the Tomb of Horrors, the original Tomb of Horrors. This is the little book that had all of the, well, it's the adventure stuff because this is from Barrier Peak. Yes, Arnalda. We do pen and paper RPGs. Yeah, it's got pictures of all the robots and the computers and stuff. Not my favorite because I'm not a huge fan of that sort of stuff. Oh, you're into that too? Well, awesome. Right? Like Skeletor says, the joke's on you. I'm into that shit. But yeah, these are some of my old adventures. These ones aren't reprints, even though this has got the new cover. The original one had the black and white covers. But man, and there is like, I forget who I was arguing about it, this, but if you're in the lair of the hill giants and you make a lot of noise and stuff, like you can end up fighting like 40 hill giants and 100 ogres and like just basically a whole army. Yeah, the deep gnomes. The Slod, here's the thing. What I know about the Slod is this. When I was very, very young, I had this book on mythology, right? Because my mom, as I've said before, she always insisted we read, and she bought us books we liked. Like I still have the red Time Life whatever book of wizards and shit up there. Um, I remember there being a South American mythology about a place where frogmen ruled everything, and they actually rode humans that they captured as slaves around, like set up on their shoulders and whipped the shit out of them and rode them around, and like it was this whole thing. But I haven't really been able to find that. Yeah, I'm okay. I knocked my spaceship over. RuneQuest, Dragons and Demons. Okay, that Dragons and Demons, isn't that the German version? Drakenar. No, that's the Swedish role-playing game, Dragons and Demons. Because they just re-released it, but they called it Dragon something. Bane, maybe? I moved my spaceship to try and get it out of the way. And I keep knocking it over because I was looking for something. Yeah, that's the Swedish game. Oh, you're from Sweden. Well, there you go then. I have never seen the original Dragons and Demons, but I own everything Free League Publishing has put out for their new Dragonbane or whatever they called it game. I don't know if I have it in here or where I put it. It's right here. Yeah, I have some of it here. Yeah, it's Dragonbane. Yeah, I bought somehow for some reason I kickstarted this thing 3 times. And I think it's because I forgot I kickstarted it, so I kept kickstartering it. So I gave one of these away as a gift to somebody, but I still have 2 of the box sets. And then the hardbound books they came out with, the 3 hardbound books. I have the normal edition, and then I also have the collector's edition. I love that game. That is a great game. But no one really wanted to play, so. Dark Eye. Yeah, Schwarzwald. Yeah. And then, yeah, Rollmaster, RuneQuest, those of for people who like a little bit more crunch in their game, that's definitely the way to go. Because, I played Middle Earth role playing, which is like Rollmaster Light. You know the artist? Well, I think he did an amazing job. So awesome, man. Awesome. He did a good job. I like his art. Now, some people talk smack because of the ducks and the wolf people, but honestly, that didn't bother me. That didn't really bother me so much, but I have heard some people say that having those characters in it was kind of a turnoff. And I'm like, the thing is the game tells you right up front that it's mirth and mayhem, and the ducks are the mirth. and the getting murdered by shit is mayhem. Leth, still looking to play some RuneQuest, huh? Well, I hope you get to play it again soon. Even though, like I said, I've never played RuneQuest. I've only really played MERPs. I have one version of RuneQuest, but yeah, I was much more Rollmaster than RuneQuest for whatever reason. I mean, like no particular reason, just that's what I encountered first. So that, you know what, that's Arnalda, that's exactly was my position on it. It was like, either don't take it so seriously, or take it seriously and just get over the fact that there are ducks in the game, you know. And okay, I mean, now I remember Leth telling me that in RuneQuest or something, the ducks had something to do with a curse, right? And if you wanted to add that to your Dragonbane, you could. You could just say, the mallards at one time had been either ducks or humans or something, and some evil wizard had done some bad stuff, and now you've got the mallards, and that would just be the end of it. One Ring I did get to run, and it's really good. I like One Ring. I have not got to run Dragonbane for a group. However, there are amazing solo rules for Dragonbane. And yes, I understand, brother Hungar, brother. I understand that that's kind of, some people might consider that to be a little bit on the lame side, sitting around playing Dragonbane by yourself, but whatever. Who cares? A Duck Inquisitor, yeah, Darkwing Duck. Yeah, the thing is, when I was talking about running the game, and the players were like, well, if we play the game, and of course, the player who currently plays a gnome wanted to play a halfling, and then I had two players that wanted to play mallards. No one wanted to play a wolf person, which was surprising to me, honestly. And like everyone else was just wanting to play normal humans, and I was like, well, okay, I mean, cool, you know what I mean? But like I always tell Leth whenever we've talked about it, Dragonbane is like RuneQuest if RuneQuest were on a die 20 instead of percentile dice, in a lot of ways, because you got your skills and all, but everything's by, like, let's say when you raise a skill, it would be like raising a skill in RuneQuest, but you're raising it by 5% instead of whatever. You know what I mean? And when you make your rolls, instead of rolling from 1 to 100, you roll 1 to 20, but again, it's increments of 5%. So it just makes it, a little bit easier, a little bit less numbery, I guess. Oh, good. In the new one, in the new Dragonbane, Arnalda, it's super easy. It's like you get your attributes, and your attributes determine your secondary characteristics, and then your race determines your special ability, and then your class gives you like a feat type thing, and then you get your skills based on class, I think. So really, it's just like you pick one thing and this thing and that thing and just copy down whatever. I mean, it's not that big of a deal at all, really. They kept it very simple, and which I appreciate. Now, once gameplay begins and your character starts being able to spend skill points on pretty much whatever the hell they want to spend skill points on, then you can start seeing some crazy characters, like the elf knight, except he's got magic or something like that. But yeah, until then. All right. I decided to paint my fire grills a brass color. I know these never focus in, and the fire's white because I will use my quick paint zealot yellow on them, and it'll make them look like actual fire. They'll look pretty good. And then I will glue them inside of the actual fireplace. So, I mean, it was good that the fireplace came with the option to have the fire or not have the fire in it. Vampire game and werewolf. We just ended a couple weeks ago. Total surprise to me, our vampire game. And now we're playing Old School Essentials Advanced again, because these characters that the players are playing are a year plus old. Hey, Shark, how you doing, bro? Let's see. Yeah. So these are old characters, basically. And the good thing about that was the players were super stoked, because they're like, I get to play my old whatever. And I was like, yeah. We're still having a problem, though. Well, not really. It's pretty fixed. Pretty fixed, but yep. But when we left the game off the Sunday before Easter, the characters had just gotten attacked by a adult blue dragon that had flown down from the mountainside where it was hiding and lightning breathed them all. So we'll see what happens. And even though it might be considered a dick move, I did leave the game on that cliffhanger. The players getting attacked by a dragon. Yeah. Luckily in OSC Advanced, well, no, like in AD&D, it's not the hit points that get you. It's the everything else. And they're in a very narrow mountain pass where they can only walk up it like 2 abreast. And the dragon is swooping down on them. So, I mean, here's the problem. And I'm not saying this to be a dick, but the second it looks like the players might be winning the battle, the dragon's just going to fly away and go back to its hidden lair, which is miles away from where they are, and recoup, and they may or may not ever see that dragon again. But that is what's going to happen. So it's kind of crappy for the players, because it's like, if you really wanted to kill that dragon, chances of you being able to do that are pretty slim. Because, yeah, my dragons are not stupid. Whenever they know they're going to lose a battle and they're outdoors, they fly away. They're like, yeah, we're gone. Which is why Double D, Diversity and Dragons, did a great, yeah, you got to find the lair. I'm up in Kentucky for a few weeks right now, and the internet isn't that good. Then I'll just have your character be dead, okay? Because I'm not playing this game. And I don't mean to be mean, but come on, man. Come on. No, I ain't got any. Yeah, you got to find the lair, or you got to have a way to you got to have a way to prevent them from escaping. Diversity and Dragons did a whole video on, like, if you go dragon hunting, you got to bring like maybe a ballista with weights on it and chains, and when the dragon flies by, try and I'm saying if you're trying to call off the game this Sunday, then whatever. Because I am seriously, as the guy running the game, getting tired of it. I'm going to start. There are people I talk to online that have the rule: if they miss 3 games, you just kick them out of your game. I'm seriously thinking about considering that, because every time we run, which not so much for you, bro, but every time we run a game, my wife cooks food, she works her ass off, we clean the house up, we do everything to host a thing, and for somebody to call out last minute or whatever, or with the excuse of I just don't want to go anywhere, is so rude and fucking not only rude, but it's like basically it's like saying, hey, rest of the group that I hang out with, I don't give an F about you. I really don't. Because even though I made the promise that I would be there to game with you guys, and even though I might be a major part of the group, and me not showing up could lead to a bunch of people dying, I have decided, for whatever reason, that I would just rather sit home on my lazy ass tonight. And I am personally getting over it. Okay, well, you need to specify, because my temper is hair triggered and I'm sensitive about this particular thing. Yeah, it's like, if you can't show up, why even? And other DMs out there, I'm sure, have their own opinions on this, but over the years I've tried to work with people. I really have. But at a point, there's this one night a week, everyone voted on this particular night, even though it's not super convenient for me or my wife, and we've all agreed to meet, which is the most centralized location, my house, and play this game and hang out and joke and carry on and have a good time, right? We play in person, except for Hungar uses Messenger because he's in Kentucky right now. But I don't really like online play, even though I know a lot of people do it. But yeah, the thing is, it's like, if you made the agreement with it's not even just me, it's like the rest of the group. If you made an agreement and you're like, yes, we're going to do this thing on this day, and then you're constantly wanting to not do the thing for any reason, I don't give a shit what it is. In my opinion, you're just wrong. Not only wrong, but kind of a bad friend. Because you're leaving the rest of the group hanging because of you. And it's like, okay, if you call me and you say, hey, man, I'm not coming over because there's been a death in the family, something like that. That's one thing. That's like, oh shit. Yeah, okay, bro. But if your answer is, I'm just not really feeling in the mood, then it's like, well, then, just don't play, you know. There used to be a time where a man, and since we live in the modern age and I have women at my table, uh, women, I would say, there was a standard of keeping your word, where if you gave your word, you were expected to keep your word. And if you said, yes, we're going to do this thing on this day every week, it meant exactly that and nothing else but exactly that. And come hell or high water, you have an obligation. Now, am I wrong? Holy 1, 2, 3 people who don't read one book a month. I would agree with that, even though I don't really read a book a month anymore. I used to. I mean, I'm 54 now, but between 13, thank you, sir. Between 13 and my late 30s, I read at least a book a month. Yeah, yeah. Because and the thing is, like I'm reiterating, it's like it's not just about you. That's the thing. It's not just about you and what's going on with you particularly. Because if there is some horrible thing that happened, obviously, as friends, bros, comrades, we're going to. You need to read chat a little better. Shut up. I do love audiobooks. I've read a lot of books. Let's just say that. When I was younger, I was one of those book reading nerds. This girl I like can read a whole series. Well, that's good. Depending on the series. Ultra American, what is up? What is up? And Hungar, you're going to show up, so there's no problem, is there? And maybe you're not the one that I'm aggravated about, because 99% of the time you do whatever it takes to show up. But this whole, uh, just for no good reason, decide not to show up, it's an insult, not even to me, it's an insult to the rest of the players. What am I painting? An old school dwarf that I 3D printed. I just did his beard with Weirwood Brown. But there's guys online that do dwarves and stuff like that, but they do them in the way Games Workshop used to do them back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I used to play Warhammer Fantasy back in that era, like late 90s, 2000s, all the way up. And hey, quickly, good to see you again, sir. And I have to admit that I have a lot of love. And sure, it might be just nostalgia, but I got a lot of love for those old goofy dwarf sculpts that Citadel and what was the other company? Because there for a while for Warhammer Fantasy, there were actually two miniature companies. It was like Citadel was one, and the other one mostly did monsters, but they were, and then Citadel ended up buying the other one. I don't remember, but I like those goofy old freaking I haven't seen The Last of Us at all. Gotta go. It was nice playing. Arnalda, it was nice speaking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful time. And I hope the weather's great and everything in Sweden. And, you know, yeah. So now that the white has dried on my fireplaces, I can take my Zealot Yellow Quick Paint, which is this stuff. They say yellow, right? This ain't yellow. This is orange. The only good express paint, quick paint, whatever yellow out there is Games Workshop Bad Moon Yellow, I think it's called. That stuff, if you put it on a miniature that's white, is like freaking canary yellow. Where are you going? Going to what?
We're going to Joy Japan. Stay there. Stay.
Joy Japan.
Yeah, his friend is coming by.
All right. Well, the wife is out again to go to Joy Japan. I hope she brings me back sushi. I would like some sushi. I like Saab cars. Yeah, it's funny. If you ever listen to like Arch, he's Norwegian, and I don't know what the beef between Norwegians and Swedes are, but man, oh man, I don't think I've ever heard Arch say a positive thing about Swedes. You know what I mean? Of course, he also hates the Sami people too. Well, I don't know if hate's the right word, but he strongly dislikes them. The ones that are always herding reindeer around. Yeah, he's not a fan of those people either. See, my wife is kind of Scandinavian, but not, because she's a Dane. Yeah, those old Grenadier and Raupartha miniatures, the really, really early Games Workshop miniatures, they were just, while a person can argue they weren't as good and detailed, etc., as the modern figures, they really had a character to them, though. You know, it was like the orcs were kind of goofy but funny and cool, and you know, and yeah. So apparently Norwegians are not fans of Swedes or reindeer herders in the far north. And Danes, my wife likes all the Scandinavian people, but she is a Dane. So, you know, and me, I have Scandinavian blood in me. The only up there I don't have in me, which I don't think they count as Scandinavian anyway, is I have no Finnish blood. But I have Danish, Norwegian, Swedish, German, and then Polish, and then East Slav. And then like 4% Irish, which is funny because my surname is an Irish surname. But the least of my ethnicities is Irish. I mean, I'm more Slavic than I am Irish. But I suppose I could go to the place and pay all the money and get my name changed to Smolensk or whatever it was before they came through Ellis Island and everybody got new names. Lots of German, 40%. Yeah. So I am almost half German. Finland is Nordic, though. Okay. I know sometimes they count it and sometimes they don't. It's weird. Is Denmark Nordic? You wouldn't think it would be, since it's actually got to be a bit of North Pole in there too, right? I am 100% Yakubian, sir, which is true. And if you were to ask any member of the Nation of Islam, they would tell you that I'm not lying. I am 100% Yakubian. So I've got these. This is a Casmi, a fly demon. I think I'll start working on this. And the first thing that working on this means is priming. It's the beard. Oh, Santa Claus. Yeah, right. It's funny too, because Peter the Great, and he was pretty great, he actually passed an ordinance when he was the Tsar of all of Russia that men were not allowed to wear beards because he wanted technology. Exactly. Because he wanted Russia, Imperial Russia, to be more like Western Europe. So after he went on a tour to France and England and various other places, when he came back, he made everybody shave, which did not make a lot of people happy. I think he let the Orthodox priests keep the beard, and to this day, if you actually look at Russians, very few of them have beards, like the younger ones. Older ones, yeah, but young Russian men, they shave their beards off. They're all clean shaven for the most part. And I mean, I'm generalizing here, so don't, hit me up with I went to Russia once and saw a young man and he had a beard. Well, yeah, there's outliers, but now, is that because of what Peter the Great did and they just never stopped? I don't know. Or maybe, and this is something that I got really embarrassed about this, even though George did it and I didn't get embarrassed. But I was visiting family and my niece, her name is Katya, and she's Russian, right? Like, her mother is from Russia, and her dad is my wife's brother. And so I call her my niece, but not by blood, I guess you could say. So she saw me and I was wearing a black shirt, like a black Dickie shirt or something, and a pair of work pants and my boots. And she was like, "You look just like an Orthodox priest." And I had never had such a attack of imposter syndrome in my entire life. I actually, when we came home, I never told anybody before now, guys. So you are hearing me open my heart to you. When I got home from that visit, I shaved because I was like, I do not want anyone to mistake me for a priest. I am not a priest. I am just a jackass that, has some beliefs, but, and Katya would know what an Orthodox priest looks like because, like I said, Finns also have considerable genetic overlap with Slavic people. Schema monks look cool, yeah, with all the black and then the white iconography all over them. Yeah. I found out yesterday because my brother told me. that apparently there's like thousands of Orthodox Christians in Japan, and the Orthodox priest that started Orthodoxy in Japan, when he died, he got a state funeral that was the biggest, most elaborate funeral Japan has ever given to anyone who was non-Japanese. So apparently, like, everyone loved this guy. And to this day in Tokyo or Kyoto or wherever, they have a massive cathedral that's his cathedral, and they still have, like 30,000 people, which isn't much in a country like Japan, but they still have 30,000 members of his cathedral, which I'm laughing here because I'm imagining like a little old Japanese lady showing up to church with her little headscarf on, and all that. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But the new priest is Japanese now. The original guy was a Russian. There was a time way back in the day when under the empire, the Russians were sending out evangelical priests all over the world. Like in California, it's St. Herman. But I think he's also the patron of Alaska. And then there are a lot of Orthodox saints in Alaska that are Inuits. So, yeah. Because a lot of the Inuit tribes converted when the Russian trappers were there. And and then some of them become saints. Because in Orthodoxy, it's easier to become a saint than it is in Roman Catholicism. What's up, GM Cody? Black grell flies? No, sir. These are Casmi. Even though they would make some good grell flies, wouldn't they? But these are the Casmi. I need them for an adventure this Sunday. Which, no, they're not going to see these guys this Sunday. We still haven't decided whether they've survived the Blue Dragon attack. They had a wandering encounter in the mountains, and I had my wife roll the die, and she rolled the 19. And on the Wandering Monster chart, 19 was adult blue dragon out hunting. Its lair is many miles away, hidden in the mountains. So the good news is the group does have 2 rangers in it. So if the rangers can duck and move and put enough arrows into the dragon, when it gets down to about half health, is going to leave. Hungar, you pretend like you didn't hear this. The dragon is smart enough that it is not going to fight to the death when it can easily just freaking gain elevation and go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they may never see the dragon again. Or they may decide they want to try and hunt it down. However, hunting a dragon's lair down throughout the whole of the Yatil Mountains, which are, hundreds and hundreds of miles, probably not super easy. Probably not an easy thing to do. But then again, they got rangers, so, but then again, it flies. I am currently running old school essentials, but advanced. Long shot. What's up, bro? I haven't seen you in well, I always say Coon's age because that's what we say in Kentucky. And recently someone said, that could be taken as racist. And I'm like, what's racist about raccoons? We go coon hunting. I mean, some people eat them. It's like, God, man, calm down. Everything ain't got to be that way. But yeah, I'm running my players through an adventure in the Yatil Mountains using old school essentials, advanced. So, I have an acrobat and we have, where you don't have to be races class and stuff like that. And they got hit by a adult blue dragon because that was what was on the encounter table. And like I was saying in one of my videos, I think I made, maybe not, I don't roll for wandering monsters and stuff like that anymore. I make the players do it. You know what I mean? So like every turn or whatever, when you're supposed to check for wandering monsters, I will name a player at random, or just whoever was last talking or got my attention or whatever. And I'll be like, hey, do me a favor and roll dice 6. And if they say 1, then I'll be like, okay. And then I'll turn to another player and say, do me a favor and roll a die 20. And then they'll roll their die 20 and I'll be like, what'd you roll? And when they tell me, I'm like, cool. And then I just look on the chart and see what they're getting ready to encounter, And I told them I do this so that they can't blame me for anything bad that happens. Like, if they all get ate by this dragon, it's not my fault. I didn't roll it. You guys rolled it. It wouldn't have even happened if you guys hadn't rolled it up. So be mad at yourselves. So, yeah. But they are, DM Cody, they are looking for the long lost tomb of Igwelv, which they have heard is full of treasures beyond description. Exactly, quickly. You just have the players roll, and then if they don't like the roll, just be like, well, you rolled it. I didn't roll that. You did. So now you get to deal with it, because, and this is just my opinion as the GM, I'm not there to tell stories. I'm not there to try to put my players through whatever. I exist solely to adjudicate dice rolls. That's what I consider to be my job as a DM. I adjudicate dice rolls. So if they roll dice and they need to know what the rolling of the dice means, that's my job. My job is to tell them what the rolling of the dice means. Needs more garlic. And then, and I know there's always a lot of argument on X and everywhere else about this. Then the story of the campaign comes from the things they've done in game, not the stuff that good night, Satya, sleep well. And, stay warm. Now, I mean, I'm not saying this is how everyone should do it. It's just how I do it. It's just how I do it. A lot of people, they want to run more orderly, adventures where they're, there's an actual set goal and the characters are trying to accomplish whatever the goal is. And honestly, I have no problem with that. I have a buddy that's how he runs his game, and his campaigns are never more than 6 months long, because he'll tell the players, make characters of X level. And then he'll tell them, this is what the adventure is. And it can be, rescue the princess, slay the dragon, whatever. And then they will play until the players have achieved their goal. At which point they have a big parade in the middle of town. And, the king awards them and blah, blah, blah. And then those characters are retired and put in a folder. And then when the next campaign, yes, Michael. Yes, Michael. When the next campaign happens, he'll do the same thing, except every now and then. And this guy, he plays AD&D second edition still. Every now and then, he'll tell the players that they're going to be playing their old characters. And because there's another thing that happened. So in a way, it's like he's running multiple campaigns at one time. And he's just like taking breaks from one set of characters and going to another set of characters. I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah, it's the way to do it, because I'll tell you what, I don't have any sort of psych degree or anything, obviously. Even though my wife does. But a lot of times players, their favorite part of the game for a lot of players is actually rolling dice. And this is something Shauner and I used to talk about a lot, because he used to call players like that automatic dice rollers, because they weren't actually playing the game. They're just there to roll dice. Well, Shauner's right. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's right. It doesn't mean he's correct, I guess. And I guess to explain what I'm trying to say is, yeah, a lot of players are there simply to roll dice. But is that a bad thing? I should. I haven't decided yet. But part of the whole playing in Greyhawk and everything like that, Michael, is so that most of my players started with third edition or later. A few of them are old schoolers, but most of them not. So, like Hungar is an old schooler, right? So, I've been wanting to kind of run them through some of the classics, if for no other reason than that they at least will have experienced it, Now, and I've got some people that are like 20 years younger than me sitting at the table, some youngins, as I would call them, even though that still means they're like in their 30s. And yeah, I want them to have the experience I had, with Greyhawk and, the great adventures that Mr. Gygax wrote, as well as some others, Moldvay and Jab Cook and all that. And to that end, that's what we've been doing. Squirrel Hermit. I like that. The fetch quests. Squirrel Hermit. Yes, some can be. I mean, our game goes back and forth because there are a couple players at my table that have a really like grim sense of humor. And they, in character, tend to say funny things right when things look the worst. And that I don't mind at all. I think that is just fine. Then there are some players who feel like the D&D game is a great opportunity for them to try out their latest stand-up routine. And those ones I mind a lot and end up having to tell them to shut up. Because if you're not saying it in character, why are you talking? Unless the point is to say something about the game, game related at least, right? And here's the thing. I know I'm a big hypocrite because during the vampire game, when I was a player, I was a terrible player. And now that I'm back in the DM seat, I'm trying to rein a bunch of shit in, and people are like, but you were the worst. And I'm like, yeah, I was. But, you learn, you get better, right? And I don't want to be the worst anymore. And I don't want you guys to be the worst either. Therefore, if you say something at the table, unless it's you asking me a rules question or something, your character said it. So don't waste my time with whatever memes you've seen lately, whatever you think is funny. If the game is so boring that you're more interested in your cat memes and shit, again, don't play. And I have one player that's really bad for that. It's like, fortunately, not lately, but for a while there. Quest for digging ditches, cutting timber, laying down road work. Shark, a lot of that actually could be legitimate if you're in the domain period of your game. Like the players have been given an area of land to settle and shit. At that point, yeah, trying to figure out how you're going to get roads built and shit becomes a quest, And if it's still dangerous in the region, I mean, either the players are going to have to stand there while the workers are working or hire guards to do it. Because, the second you turn your back, some freaking orcs or something. My favorite games are the ones where we actually role play. That's what I'm looking for, We actually make a conscious effort to pretend we are these characters and the world is real. That's how it should be. And that's one of the reasons when I run my game, I never call anyone by their real name. If I call on somebody, I call on them by their character name because I'm trying to hammer it into everyone's mind that for this 3 hours or so, however long, you are not, the wife or the electrician or the brother. You are, Caitlin, the cleric of Heronius, or Naubar, Skull Splitter, Dwarf Warrior from the Lort Mills, or, whatever, right? And, if you open your mouth, it should be as your character. It shouldn't be any other thing, unless, like I said, you're asking me a question like, which die am I supposed to roll again? Get some rest. Been up all night. Let's stop being up all night running around with your dong hanging out in Conan. How about that? Huh? How about them apples? Still haven't seen you over in Valheim, and I know you own the game. I'm telling you, if you hung out, you would like it. The problem with Valheim that I think caused a lot of people to play a little bit and quit is the learning curve of Valheim is incredibly steep. Yeah, I actually hate calling you Hungar because I know it's not your name and it bothers me. whereas I go by my name. And maybe I should start calling you Leslie. I don't know. But anyway. And I'll tell you what, when my bro starts running Vampire again, I am going to make extra damn certain that anything I say at the table is coming out of my character's mouth. I am not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to use this experience running the game to actually not only try to enforce some rules, then just call you Haas like I always do. See, there you go. Except in the game, in which case I'm going to call you Nowbar. And if I don't, correct me and say, that's Nowbar the dwarf. Thank you very much. Right? See, that's one of the times you can correct the DM and be well within your rights to do so. Right? But my thought is, because I mean, here and I don't know how long it'll be, but here in a while, the storyteller from our vampire game will get in the mood to run another little 6 month to a year thing. And when that day happens, with God as my witness, I'm going to be the best vampire player ever. I'm not going to disrupt the table. I'm not going to do anything out of character. I'm not going to try to always steal the highlight from everything else and everyone else. I am going to be better. At least that's my hope. Which just goes to show some of you guys, if you're newer, that just because you've played this game for 41 years doesn't mean you can't always learn. And I think the biggest problem for me is that, yes, I've played the game for 41 years, but the vast majority of that was as a forever DM. So, you know, I just kind of, I wish I hadn't deleted it now, damn it. I had a video explaining how difficult it is. You have been, Hungar. I know I've been giving you a ration of shit, but don't worry about it. I'm just venting, and it's not all you. It's not even mostly you. But anyway, yeah. The problem with being a DM for like 20 plus years in a row, and then somebody being like, hey, I'll run a game if you want to play. And of course, you're like, oh, I'd love to play. And guess what? You can be the best DM in the world, which I honestly say I am, mainly because my players say it, but they could be lying, let's be honest. And the worst player in the world. You know what I mean? I don't have a profession or skill system chart, but I do use proficiencies. So, you know, but you're right. I mean, now one thing that's interesting about Old School Essentials is if you choose to play a knight, when you hit level 4, you are at that point, you can build a stronghold, castle, whatever, start attracting followers, the whole 9 yards. I believe. I might be wrong. Which to me is like a trip, because for everyone else you got to be at level 9. But the knight, level 4. It's like level 4, baby. Let's start building some forts, you know? And I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, whatever. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe some of the fighters in the current game end up getting recruited into one of the knightly orders. You know, that's one thing in Greyhawk. They have different knightly orders that if you go on quests and shit, you can become a member of the knightly order, and you know, and there are some advantages to that, some disadvantages to that, but it's something that building some terrain, hell yeah. Terrain building is one of my favorite things, as you know, those of you who hung out with me while I was working on my trench board and my small Slavic village, you know. Got them both done, haven't used them at all. Well, okay, that's like the trench board I did use, but only to kind of solo game out how the game worked. But otherwise, yeah, not really. These are like some of the worst demons ever. The Khazmi. Freaking despise them. Okay. See, what I'm doing now is, it was black, but now I'm zenithal highlighting, but I'm not going to zenithal highlight the tail, because the tail is going to be painted metallic, like a darker metallic blue. And so I don't want to make that white, because then it'll make the coverage of the metallic blue a lot more difficult, if you know what I mean. And the reason is because the thing is, the fact that you know you're a bad player, your work on it, being unaware you're a problem is a problem. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. The only thing, and again, this was in the video I ended up deleting when I deleted all my videos, and I had hundreds. The one of the things that is almost as big of a pain in the ass as being a forever DM that immediately all of a sudden gets thrown into the player chair is being a DM running a game for like 3 other DMs and other people, because every DM kind of has his own little eccentricities, let's call it, his own little quirks and ways they like to do things. And being a DM for DMs, the Chase debuted in the Lost Caverns of Sachkant. I didn't know that. Or Chasm. Yeah. It auto-corrected you. Yeah, it did. A lot of things did. Because the original adventure, which I had, came with 2 books. And one book was basically a mini monster manual. It was just full of monsters and magic items and additional spells and potions and stuff like that. You know, that's just one good thing. I primer my miniatures just out of habit, I think. But one good thing about this resin is, if you did what I said, as far as wash it off real good with water, then spray it down with alcohol, and then rewash it, and then put it in the UV box for about 10 minutes, The resin itself, while super detailed, because I print in 12K, is very porous. So honestly, I could probably get away without primering these guys, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter at all. But I just like to primer them. I don't know. It's habit. Hey, there's Bear. Hey, Bear. It's been way too long, so you're not going to be able to find any link. So Hungar had the link, but didn't want to join because he's still up in Kentucky. And I'll tell you what, my wife and I moved to Kentucky. We're definitely getting Starlink or something because yeah, you run, and there for a long, long time, 3 people at my table were dungeon masters. And it was just like, oh my God, because these guys, it's like, because every DM's a little different in the way they do things. So if you make a call, because ruling's not rules, obviously, then another DM might be like, I wouldn't have made that call, I would have called it this way, or which, as long as it's something we talk about after the game, that's fine. If you try to bring it up during the game, I will say we'll talk about after.
What are we talking about after the game?
If there's a disagreement about something, like a ruling, you talk about after the game. The only way I would say I would change that would be if a character's life or death was on the line. At which point I'd say, okay, let's hammer this shit out, because we don't want someone to die and feel like they got cheesed into death and they never should have died. Because then they're going to want to freaking, hold a grudge. And nobody needs that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So, we talk it out. And if it turns out I'm wrong, then I say, hey, sorry about that. And the game continues. But if I'm right, I say, sorry about that. Here's a blank character sheet, though. And they roll up a character and the game continues. I mean, my players don't even blink twice when their characters die anymore. And I don't, like I said earlier, I am not in the market to kill player characters. That is not my goal ever at all. But
yeah,
I arbitrate the dice. And if the dice say your character's dead, then your character's dead. Because I'm not going to change the die.
It's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's just how I do it. I mean, some people, they'll fudge dice. That's fine.
Everybody rolls the way they roll, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying, I know I'm not a great player, but if you want to have some sweats running a game, run a game for a table full of DMs. Because, again, they will question everything you do. And you're just like, ugh. Come on, guys.
Oh, dear God. I got to fucking disconnect from social media.
Well,
there are people, because there are people I know, right?
Yeah.
Who I see as intelligent human beings, right? Like, I think they're intelligent. And then I see the shit they post and I go, How are you so fucking easily manipulated? Orange man bad, grrr, you know?
Everyone is social media makes everyone stupider.
Fuck, does it ever?
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying I believe there was an actual study where they showed that.
No, I believe it, man. I fully
Like
fucking believe it.
humanity is at its worst when you are anonymous online.
Ah, man.
You know, people will say things that they would never say if they were sitting across the table from you.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I just love the fact that they've cut Harvard's funding, and then all these people I know who are Harvard alum are all going, I gave money to Harvard. Don't fuck around my alma mater. It's like he's defunding them because of the anti-Semitic bullshit that they're allowing to happen, for fuck's sake. When did the left fully give up on Jewish people? Jesus Christ.
I think trans people are the new Jewish people.
Are they?
That's half a joke. But there was a time when they cared about black people and minorities, and now it seems like all they really care about is one particular group. And I don't know. I mean, these are the people. One of my, actually, Andre, the Russian guy I talked to.
Yeah.
Hey, John Gott, how you doing? Salute. He says to me, the same people who argue that you should be able to physically assault people for not believing what you believe and burn down car companies and abort fetuses at will, they think they're the good guys. And yet in games where you have demons versus whatever, they always side with the demons. And it's like there's a lack of self-awareness.
Well, quickly, all I can say is I came in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah. Well, that's because we were having a perfectly good conversation about.
And then I come in and I start throwing the real world and waving my big stupid Canadian dick around. Got it. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, killing characters. Fuck, dude. My OSC game in 8 sessions had 13 dead characters.
I told people about that on a live stream you weren't on. I was like, Bear's group. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I know Bear didn't pick a killer dungeon. So I can only assume these players just hated each other.
No, they just refused to work together. And it's really funny because the same group
Well, I mean in character, obviously, not.
Sorry, was that? Say again?
I mean, when I said players and I should have said characters.
Well, but even then, it was they refused to work together. Half of them would cut and run the moment the fight started. The other half would try and stick it out. It was really weird. And then I put them into my setting in 5e now, Final Age, which is a dark post-apocalyptic fantasy setting where you can die real fucking easy. And suddenly they're all working together like the best of friends and an amazing team and all this shit. So all I can figure is BX, OSC, probably AD&D as well, kind of instills a bit of hyper individualistic survival instinct in that, like, I'm out here for myself. I can survive. I can die at any time. Fuck everybody else. Where with the 5e, I think they just, I don't know how, but they seem to want to work together as a team. And as a result, they survived a major encounter.
Or maybe during the week between the games, they had some time for some self-reflection.
Now, that could happen too. I'm not saying it didn't.
And they were like, yeah, we were idiots. I mean,
they ate a lot of shit.
Game and laughing.
Dude, they ate a lot of shit online from everybody in the Discord and stuff for how they fucking weren't playing as a team. So
I watched that. And I'm like, why is that person climbing the rope while the other two are fighting all the guys? Like, what's going on here?
Why are they leaving each other? Then why are they retreating but not grabbing the bodies of their paralyzed teammates to pull away from the ghouls? Why? The best part, though, was I still remember, I'll never forget, during that stream, there was a couple of them back and forthing in the chat, viewers, and they were pretty much trying to make it out that I was being a mean GM, right?
Not at all, sir.
Like, it's 12 ghouls and a ghoul king, which they don't even know what the fuck that is because I made it the fuck up. But they're acting like, and a ghoul king? Oh my god, yeah. 12 slow-moving, easily killed creatures. What the fuck was I thinking? plus they all got extra hit points for their con score plus max hit die at first level. They were fucking tanks, these people. They just played badly, sadly.
Yeah, don't worry. I think we're back to the gaming, but I
Listen
would say
quickly, I'm gonna slap you in the face with my penis. You watch yourself, sir. I will not stand for your disparaging of my nature.
I will say this. If you have not seen the particular games of Bear running OSE, oh my God. Like, there were people in there saying Bear was being too tough, but most of the people I saw were just flat out roasting the player.
It was brutal.
And
It was
saying
brutal.
this, like Nerds Nerd was like, this is the funniest game I've ever watched on YouTube.
Yeah, Nerds was extra brutal.
I had to agree with her. It was hilarious. It was like if you mix that old comedy, the Keystone Cops,
Yeah.
BX D&D, that's what you would have been watching. They were running around just doing stuff. And, you know, I'm sitting here as a DM for OSC Advanced. And I'm just like, they started with their con score hit points plus max. That means if you had a con of 12 and you were a fighter, you started with 20 hit points.
Yep. 22 hit points. 22 hit points they started with. One of them. But no,
Yeah,
the best
there's
part
no reason to be running at that point. I mean,
the best though, TCG brings it up. The fucking best. I don't have the meme. If you want to show it to him, go ahead. Send it to me on Discord or something. I don't remember what it is. Was Janet. Oh my God, she was hilarious. Her bard. They're all at the bottom of the stairs being attacked by goblins. And she's like, I lean over into the entryway and play my flute.
Yeah.
Like, here's a fucking death urge for you while you're dying. Enjoy
Yeah,
that.
like play a dirge because they're not coming back.
Like, Jesus Christ, that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me the meme. I don't have it, so I don't know where it is. I don't remember. So someone did make a meme of poor Janet playing flute. It was funny. It was a fun game, though.
It looked like everyone was having a blast. It was just that everyone was dying.
Oh
and
my God.
a lot of it, like you said, I was watching it and I'm like, there's no reason they should have died there. There's no reason. If they'd worked together, they'd been fine. But that was just not in the cards in this particular.
Just the way it is, man. It's just the way
BRC, how you doing? Hopefully we see you this Sunday, which is tomorrow. So we can find out whether you survived the Blue Dragon attack or not.
Oh, what are you guys playing? OSC?
Mm-hmm.
I got Horde Wars coming, so I'm looking forward to reading that.
Black Magic Craft. Not Black Magic Craft. I have him on my mind because
DM Blackwell.
Those guys Black Lodge did a thing on Horde Wars.
Yeah, they did a thing on Horde Wars, yeah.
And they said it was really awesome.
It is. It's actually a really good game, which of course means it will get no love because it's not a D&D clone, and therefore, you know, will just crawl along by the skin of its teeth. Whereas the next person that releases their BX House Rules edition called Dragon Fucker is going to make $1 million on fucking backer kit.
Well, to be fair, how many XP would you give a character if they could
a dragon
subdue and have sex with a dragon?
I don't know. I guess I'd have to say all. I'd give them all the XP.
Right, because it's like, okay. And that's the rule. What's up, Crafting Gamer? And that's the rule for Dragon Fucker.
Welcome to Dragon Fucker Advanced.
Right. I don't even want to get into that. But I don't know. All the hype online for Horde Wars has been very positive.
It's a good game.
Well, so maybe, I mean, D&D, like, it's no longer like back in the early 90s when that's all there was.
No. TCG, you going to show me your meme?
I'm asking Janet if she has it because I do not have Twitch or
Janet's
Twitter,
not
wherever
home.
it was.
Janet's on the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think have I seen it? I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, as GM, if someone made that meme, I would have saved it straight to my computer. So I kind of figured you did.
No, I don't remember seeing it. Where was it shown?
Could have sworn you were the one that showed it off on Max Liao show.
I don't know. I honestly I don't remember this. I'm going to see if I can find it. Hang on. But yeah, it's a hell of a game.
I would strongly suggest people, like if you're building terrain and you're not listening to me and you want to crack up, go to Bear's channel and find out those games. Because it was like, wow. Maybe even if you've got a new player into D&D, have them watch those games. And then tell them this is what you don't do. Ever.
Yeah.
Because
I have no idea about this fucking meme. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, someone will eventually find it and show it off to Janet again. So.
Well, it's
Janet's
fun.
such a sweetheart.
She is. She's adorable.
I assume. I don't know.
No, Janet's heart is definitely in the right place, sir.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Janet also has, especially when it comes to RPGs, that innocent curiosity, but she also has the adult insecurity. So it's like, oh, I'm so sorry I'm asking questions. No, it's perfectly fine, Janet. The less you know right now, therefore, the more questions you ask. I'm wording that wrong, but anyway, the more questions you ask, the more you'll know.
Yeah, but I tease her and I tease Bruce. I'm like, what trauma is he doing to her that she asked this many times? So many times she says sorry. What the hell's going on in their game? Jesus Christ!
I told my wife never apologize to me, and she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I kind of almost see apologies as a form of weakness." And there's something screwed up in my brain where anytime I see weakness, I immediately want to just crush it. So,
the only time when I feel like I need to apologize is when I've been a straight idiot, like blatantly an idiot.
So pretty much 24/7. That's what you're
okay. Fair.
I was going to say that's me too, and I will apologize, but
I'm Canadian. I can't help but apologize constantly, all the time, for everything. And what you guys in the States forget is that our apologies are usually just thinly veiled passive-aggressive fuck yous.
And it's like
down in the South, oh, bless your heart.
Yes, the Canadian apology is the Great White North version of bless your heart.
Oh, the Southern bless, well, bless your heart.
Oh, sorry, eh?
Which is pretty much you're retarded.
Although that's the part we don't say out loud, which is, oh, sorry, didn't realize you're retarded, eh?
Right?
Wouldn't
because in the South, like that's what bless your heart means.
Well, that's kind of what sorry in Canada means.
It's like, oh, well, bless your heart.
Well, it's changing. People are. It's a different time, but once upon a time, that's what it meant.
Well, I mean, it can be that way again.
Make sorry passive aggressive again.
You can bring it back, Bear.
That's okay. I got other things to do with my time.
But yes, for all of you guys out there talking about making the players roll dice, yes, that's what we do. That's what I do. I mean, I make the players roll the dice, and then I tell them if something bad happens, it's not my fault.
That's why I use active defense. You roll against the attack, add your armor class -10. If you beat the attack number, you're good. You don't, your dice fucked you, not mine.
Oh, that's like a Hackmaster, I think, did something like that.
Yeah, I don't mind actually, I kind of prefer opposing dice rolls, probably because I started with Palladium, but I also feel a little more active when it's like, okay, you're attacking me. I get the option to either parry, block, or take. Parry, block, dodge, block, or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go defend versus 12, defend versus 16. Roll a d20, add your fucking armor class minus 10, see what you get. And it plays fine, it plays fast, and the players are always rolling dice, which is the important part. So they're always
Yeah.
engaged.
Well, that part is true. Like, Palladium does not have too many checks for things, and when they do, they're usually, in my opinion, kind of bullshit because they're either way too high or way too low. So to add a little extra dynamic to that, I usually have players do checks against their attributes.
Mhm.
And yes, Palladium can go up to 30. That's why I have a D30 in my collection.
Well, I mean, in Old School Essentials Advanced, it literally on the character sheet says attribute check, roll die 20, get under attribute.
Yeah.
Because
I absolutely love that dynamic.
game basically holds your hand. I mean, if you've got the official character sheet, everything you need to know to play the game is written on the character sheet. Well, okay, no. Let me change that. Everything you need to know about the mechanics is written on the character sheet.
Yeah.
Bears game proves that not everything you need to know is on the character sheet.
Yeah. Well, as someone who's trying to make his own game, the type of character sheet I absolutely love the most, and unfortunately, I know a lot of people who don't because it ends up being like a 6 sheet or more thick character, is where you don't have to look up anything to know what to do with your character, and that includes spellcasters.
See, you and I are the exact opposite of that. My favorite character or game is the game where I can make a character on an index card.
Yeah. Well, there are also games that you know everything you need to know about your character on that index card too. You literally still don't need to look anything up.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. If you've been running D&D as long as I have, I can make an OSC character on an index card and be good because,
Yeah.
I know what everything is. But I get it. I mean, if you're playing a game that's got like a lot of skills and talents and things like that, or somewhat more crunchy style game, then yeah, you're gonna probably want, but yeah, I guess we've all came to the conclusion because everyone in the chat pretty much that runs games
Yeah.
said that they make the players roll at wandering encounters and stuff also. So that's good. I'm glad that there is consensus. Make the players roll. One, then you can blame them if something bad happens. Two, they get to roll dice. And even though, as I was saying, our dearly departed Shauner used to make fun of players that he essentially called living dice rollers. The fact is, in all reality, that some players love to roll dice. They buy dice. They have their special dice. They want to roll their damn dice. That's just what they want to do.
I have given away probably more dice than I currently have in my collection. Because I'm sorry.
So I wish I could say that. I have way too many fucking dice.
Well, I'm referring more to the fact that I'm a dice goblin, and throughout my life, I've just collected dice set after dice set after dice set because I love the sound of clickety clackety math rocks. I really do.
Well, you can be as much of a dice goblin as you like. I'm a fucking dice dragon, and I hoard my shit.
I hoard the dice I have, but only because they're no longer available for anything resembling a decent price.
Yeah, I don't have any dice sets that old or unique.
I do.
Years and years and years and years and years ago, I decided I was going to get on a kick and do nothing but buy all of the precision Xochi dice that I could.
Oh, Game Science. Yeah.
The Game Science dice. And I did. I bought, and they weren't expensive. Like a normal 6 dice set was like $7 or $8. So I went to my comic shop and I had him order some, because, him and I are cool. And the owner of the comic shop ordered a display of Game Science dice. And as it turned out, because I guess all the players in the store there are idiots except for me, no one bought them.
That seems
So
odd.
then I rolled in one day and saw the whole display there. And I'm just like, I'm going to buy them all. And he cut me a big deal on it because, you know, I mean, he still made his
Yeah.
money. Don't
Oh,
get me wrong. Dude's going to make his money. But he cut me this discount, and then he gave me all the stamp cards because this particular place has this thing where every $10 you spend, you get a stamp. And if you get 10 stamps on a card, it's $10 off. And so if you're like the kind of guy that goes in and drops 20, 30, maybe $100 on Warhammer shit, and you just hoard your cards like I do, then right now, if I open my wallet, I've got like 20 full cards, which means I could roll in and just pick anything under $200 and it's mine for free.
Nice.
Not for free, because that means I've over the years spent $2,000 at the store. But
Hey, James, there's a really awesome big miniature I've been looking at.
what big miniature have you been
Oh,
looking at out of curiosity?
It's the main one I've been looking at, like for actual honesty, is either the Stampa or what the fuck is it? It's
The Meganaut?
yes, thank you.
Yeah, the Stampa has feet and the Meganaut has tracks. But otherwise, that's really most of the difference.
Well, James, my FLGS has a 10% credit you get, whatever you buy. You get 10% in a credit, and then every 10 purchases, you can cash in your credit on the next purchase. So if you're buying like 10 $40 plus hardcovers, right? Free hardcover
Right.
on the 10th one, pretty much. Huh.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's how ours was, except they do the stamp card because when he was doing the discount, the IRS got on him really bad
Oh, God.
because he was paying taxes on the money he took in, not counting the discount he gave. And the IRS was like, nope. You got to pay taxes on the amount that the whole amount of the sale before any discount you might have gave. Because what it was is you could join the game club. And if you're a member of the game club, it was an automatic like 10 or 15% off everything.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Magic cards, D&D type stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have hundreds of them as well, James, because of just what I said in the story. It was like, on the one hand, I wasn't going to leave. The guy special ordered the whole damn display, really on my word. Just me saying these dice are really awesome. And after they sat there for 6 months, and I was the only one that was picking them up every now and then, I literally felt bad. I was like, I convinced the guy these would sell. They're not selling. I'm going to make this right. So I just bought all of them. And luckily, by that time, I'd been buying them over the course of the 6 months, like a couple of packs every payday.
I actually have I actually have a reverse
too
story of
bad.
that. It actually kind of like turned out to be a bit bullshit for me. I was buying like a couple of different play mats for Magic the Gathering, and I convinced one of the store orders to order a bunch of Legend of Zelda mats. So, because I'm a huge Legend of Zelda player, I honestly didn't know at the time. I figured he'd like make his money back off the first couple of mats, especially in the fact that I was going to buy one or two. No, apparently there was huge Legend of Zelda fans in that store. The shipment came in, and 2 hours before I arrived at the store, all the mats were already sold out. And he ordered like a dozen, 2 dozen. Every single one of them a different Legend of Zelda mat too, so it wasn't like he had repeats.
Well, he can't be complaining about that.
He's not the one complaining. I am. I asked for those things, and I didn't get a one of them.
Well, that's why you got to say, cool, let me know when they're coming in and hold one for me.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
my
think about
store
that, but
has
you're right.
that policy. My store has the policy where if I special order something, they keep it behind the counter until I come in, and they'll hold things for like months because they know I don't get up there, but a couple times a year. But they also know some of them had to find out the hard way that I'm friends with the guy that signs their checks. Because a couple of them were real dickheads to me one time. And I was like, all right. And then the next time I talked to the owner of the franchise, he's like, what's going on? And I said, well, I'll tell you. I went to your store and they were rude assholes. And, I'm not really happy. And he's like, oh, yeah? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know who you've hired in there, but they suck. You know what I mean? And he straightened them out. Like the main offender ended up getting sent to the warehouse. He wasn't allowed to work in the store
It's
anymore.
absolutely amazing who they let work in stores, especially small stores like that. It's like, do you actually? I mean, I can understand how Walmart could end up having the greeter going, "Get your shit and get out," because there's just so many of them that they hire. But a small store, it's like, did you even talk to the person before you hired them?
Well, I had a plan before the bottom went out of the local store market here in Canada, and everyone online because it was cheaper. But my plan was I was working with a friend. We were going to put together some money, and we were going to open up a gaming store. And our plan was this: we are only hiring attractive females with good personalities, and that's it. That's who's going to work in our store. We're not going to have any fucking dudes. We're not going to have any fucking, not just some fucking good-looking chicks who can talk and make fucking dumbass gamers think that they're special. And I'm telling you, had we pulled it off and had the market not gone the way it was online, I'm convinced we would have been kings based on that. Because every lonely neckbeard would have shown up to spend money in our fucking store.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if you hired some good-looking girls that actually studied up on how the game
that was
was
the other thing.
played.
We were going to teach the bitches.
And they're all like, even if they didn't like 40K, they pretended they did a little bit. Man.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as you miss Magic the Gathering, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't. You don't miss Magic the Gathering quickly. You think you do because you remember 15 or 20 years ago how much fun you and your bros had playing that game. It's not the same game
No,
anymore.
I can say I miss Magic the Gathering, but I miss what Magic the Gathering was.
Exactly. So if you want to play Magic the Gathering now, you do what I do. You buy a pre-constructed commander deck off of freaking Amazon for $15. And you and your friends just sit around and play commander and ignore everything coming out of Wizard of the Coast Magic the Gathering. And just play your little pre-constructed decks. And they're made for multiplayer games instead of, duels. And once you buy the deck, guess what? It stays good forever. Forever, ever, ever. Nothing ever gets banned. Not like a new set doesn't come out that invalidates the old set.
Jim,
if you want to buy cards, you
James,
can.
do you know what set was the one that made me stop playing Magic?
The Dark?
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Fallen Empires?
Ice Age.
Ice Age came right after Fallen Empires. Yeah.
1995, dude. I sold all my cards and never looked.
That was the one they overproduced to the point that they were basically just trying to give them.
And they introduced upkeep mana, and I'm like, well, this is fucking stupid. I'm not playing your game anymore.
The good thing, though, was those people who got a bunch of Ice Age lands and held on to them, they reintroduced snow-covered lands later, and certain monsters got bonuses if you had a snow-covered whatever out.
Oh yeah, I got so sick of that fucking game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I play Commander. I've got about 10 decks that I've bought over the years. Because every time they come out with a new main core set, they come out with like 4 commanders decks based on that, and I'll buy them. And I don't change cards out or anything hardly at all. And yeah, commander is the way to go. You got your deck, you got your commander,
Well-
and then your deck outside of basic lands and snow-covered lands, which count as basic lands, can only have one of any card. And it has to be a 99 card deck. It can be more, but not
Well,
less.
Another good way to play, really. I mean, if you don't care about winning anyway, is just for the memes. Like I do play Arena, but I don't play Arena. I just play decks that are fun as fuck. Like decks where you're literally in one turn spitting out 60 1/1 tokens. Just bleh.
The only time I watch Arena is when Desolator Magic's playing, and like he's just cussing and carrying. It's so funny, you know. But he's the one that when the Viking set came out, that busted the one Planeswalker that you discarded 4 cards, and then the next card you flipped went into play for free.
Yeah.
And so he made an Eldrazi deck that had like 4 Eldrazi, 4 Tybalts, 4 this, 4 that. It literally, of the 60 card deck or whatever, it had like 5 different cards.
Oh yeah, well, this is
And then land. And it'd be like a turn 3. He'd be like, I do the Tybalt thing, flip 4. Oh, look, it's Eldrazi. He goes into play. You discard your whole hand and lose the turn.
Yeah, I tell you the
damage.
ridiculousness of some of the cards lately. Like there is 4 cards that'll double the amount of tokens you can put on the battlefield, and a fifth card that'll triple the amount. So literally you're able to go to 8 times, 11, 12 times the amount of tokens if you have all those cards on the battlefield. It is ridiculous.
I traded my token deck away for some real life things. I had a black-white elf deck with the elf that every time she does damage, put that many 1/1 elf tokens into play. And then it had every kind of thing that gave you elf tokens. And like you said, by turn 3, I could have 25 elf tokens. And then if I played the Elven Velociraptor Herder, it turned all your elf tokens into 5/5 Velociraptor elves.
Nice.
And then you instantly killed your opponent. And that was the deck when we would go to a store if I was playing the game and somebody was being a jerk. That was the deck that I would pull out. You know what I mean? For the next game. Because it's like, okay, you don't want to play a friendly game. I got you. I mean, it had dual land in it and all that. But, yeah, I traded it off because I was like, the guys that I play Magic Commander with for fun, they don't want to play against that deck. That deck is an absolute nightmare, and they know it. You know what I mean? And there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. You know, but again, we're talking about the deck was probably worth well over $1,000.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything worth
that I
much
play
in my
now
collection.
that I'm undefeated with so far is the $15 Serpent of Deer Straits blue, green, white deck that I bought on Amazon, and it was $15.
I forgot what deck it was, or how long ago it was even. There was a deck that like years ago, I know that much, that won the world tournament, and it was less than $50.
Yep, it can be done. I mean, there's a guy. If you're into Magic, there's a guy, and it's Magic on a budget. And he's always building commander decks for like under $50.
Nice.
But like I said, if you're just gaming with your buddies and you really don't give a shit, you're just there to talk shit and have a good time. The pre-constructeds are most of the time more than you're going to actually need, you know? You're going to be fine with them. Just pick up the pre-constructed deck and play it, learn how to play it, and yeah, you'll be made in the shade, man. And I mean, I don't know how much they go for these days. I haven't bought any decks since they come out with the Mafia deck, because I was like, really? This whole plane's based on the mob? That's stupid. But let me hit up my Amazon and put in Commander deck.
Yeah. This was the mob thing based in the main game or the secret lair? Because the secret lair I'm not bothered by.
No, it was a plane that was basically
It was an official plane. Okay. That
mafiosos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if I play dual color, I always play Orzhov. But lately, because of my right here, you can get all 4 of the commander decks from the latest set, Bloomborough, for $150. That's for 4 of them. So divide 150 by 4. It's like $40 a piece. But then here is the Aether Drift Commander deck, $28.
Yeah.
And of course, these are much more expensive than when I bought mine. Because I bought mine years and years
as someone
ago.
who has played a lot of those newer cards, Burrowhaven, or whatever it is, has a lot of very powerful cards in it. And Aether Drift has a lot of good combo cards in it. And then
well, the Lord of the Rings Commander deck is $42. They dropped the price by $7.
Oh God, well, we need to change subject here because I think Bear is slowly dying inside. But
I don't give a fuck, dude.
But I can honestly say Lord of the Rings was an overpowered fucking set. I have never won
how you doing, bro?
a single game against Lord of the Rings that I did not have a kill spell in my hand every turn. Because Lord of the Rings spams creatures, and when they spam creatures, they spam powerful creatures. It's like Frodo. Frodo has some bullshit ability that I forgot exactly what it was, but it literally makes Frodo almost unkillable, almost unstoppable. Bilbo has an ability that you want him to leave the battlefield. The ring wraiths are next to impossible to kill once they become ring bearers.
Yeah, not that, whatever. I'll just do my thing.
That's when you know. That's when you know he had a spicy take he was going to give.
Well, it's just like, I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of any of that bullshit. Secret lair, any of it, you know? The thing that used to be cool about Magic was that you could, if you build a deck, you could decide what the background of your deck is. But then at some point, they started trying to turn the decks into storytelling devices. And I'm all like, I don't care. You know, if I make a mono black deck full of freaking hippies and whatever, I don't need somebody else to tell me that they're from this plane or that plane and whatever. No, because in my mind, I'm playing a necromancer and this is my spell list full of undead creatures that I want to summon.
And technically, that's the way you're supposed to do it, because the idea is you are a planeswalker and this is your list of spells.
Right. Right. But they've gotten so crazy. Plus, they've just gotten so freaking, like the artists and stuff. If you think D&D, Wizards of the Coast D&D is bad, then yeah, there you can get a Magic the Gathering card for like Negan from like The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
like that. And it's just not my thing. The whole thing that made Magic attractive to me was, as a D&D geek, I could carry around a deck or two in my pockets and maybe 30 pennies. And at any time, no matter where I was, in the middle of a Denny's or whatever, if a bro of mine was there, he could be like, hey, you want to throw down? And I could be like, cool. And I really was in the D&D world the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was like, I'm summoning a unicorn, you know, and all this shit, right? And they just lost the script. And as I was going to say too, if you think for an instant that 6th edition has gone overboard with a lot of their bullshit, Magic the Gathering says, hold my
Oh,
beer.
fuck yeah.
100%
You know,
agree.
they're like,
Well, here's
Magic
the thing.
the Gathering 6th edition look like right-wing Christian extremists.
Well,
I mean, it is
Well, here's
nuts.
the thing. Magic the Gathering, I swear, whoever is recently in control of Magic the Gathering loves Palladium Rifts, because that's what it fucking reminds me of. It's like you literally have every possible fucking setting in your game now. Are you trying to become Rifts?
I can't fucking escape Palladium today, can I? On
No,
my fucking
no.
stream, they were yammering on about Palladium. Now here we are. What the fuck is with you Palladium Spurgoids? I swear to God. Jesus Christ. It's like the 3 fucking games I cannot escape. D&D, Palladium, anything, you blue riffs, and Battle.
I'm the real DM James. This guy is a Russian doppelganger.
The Russian agent in Soviet Russia, DM rolls you.
Yeah.
Luckily for you, Bear, BattleTech doesn't interest me, so there's not likely to be an
Oh, well,
whatsoever.
fuck, there's my game. mate.
Soviet
Listen,
Russia. Gameplay.
I got so
you.
sick of D&D talk that I've actually started running actual D&D again, though maxly I would say I'm running WotC fantasy role-playing, so whatever. But, yeah, god damn it.
I can see the differentiation, you
I
know,
think-
because I've said it before that you have TSR, D&D, and then everything
And
else.
that's fair, but just to keep dividing it.
Which is fun. I played 3rd edition for a very long time, but that doesn't make it D&D.
It does.
It makes it a good fantasy role-playing game, though.
D&D. Stop.
Technically, because it says so on the cover.
Well, okay, technically, there have been many different Ford Mustangs,
Right.
but they're all Mustangs.
You're not hearing me
Okay,
disagree.
good.
with
As long as
you
we're clear on that, because I'm exhausted by this. I'm exhausted by this fucking D&D elitist
Except now the car guy comes
Yeah,
out, and I have to say no, because there was that one Mustang that come out in like 70 something or 80 something. That was a 4-cylinder little tiny compact. That's not a Mustang. I don't know what
It
the
was a
fuck that
basic-
is. It says Mustang, but I don't know
It
what
was
they
a
were doing.
starter Mustang. It was basic. It was like a starter set. It was just, to get you used to the idea of a car called Mustang, and then later you'd upgrade.
I guess my mom had one, and it was like embarrassing.
Cody makes a good point, though. He said, for the amount of fucking Palladium talk we see in the community, no one's running it online. No one's doing live plays.
I've been trying, but I can't seem to get anyone to want to play either Beyond the Supernatural or Nightbane. Those are the 2 I'm interested in running. I've got one person who said he's interested, but I have not been able to find anyone else.
You would think Nerdy Ogre would be
He's the
all
one
about
who's
it.
interested.
Okay, so because Nerdy Ogre's always talking about,
In fact, if he had his preference, it would be Nightbane we would play.
but it's kind of like Palladium players are like the strange evangelicals that come to your house and invite you to a church that you've never heard. You don't know where it is. They don't tell you where it is. They just give you a
Ding
card.
dong.
Hello. And then
Hi.
if you go
May we take a
there,
moment to talk to you about the
like
Church of
an open
San Beata?
field, right? They're like, yeah, we get together for services every Saturday night at 7. You go there a little early to check it out. It's an open field with like a bonfire and some stakes driven into the ground. You're like, no.
And then all of
no.
a sudden you just start hearing in the background, hunga shaka, hunga shaka.
Hey, baby.
Did you try your food?
Hey, there's
Nope.
ritual magic at Palladium, and that's what's starting to happen to you.
I will.
Okay.
But for real, though, for real, it's like, and I don't hate on the Palladium players. I mean, everyone can like whatever they like, but Cody is not wrong. Well, Cody's rarely wrong.
That is something that used to say.
He's not wrong on this either.
That's something you get used to saying the longer you know Cody. Cody's not wrong. He's out of line, but he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's out of line, but he's right. It's like, because you think about it and you're like,
Now I gave a look at
Why is
DC-20 Nut Track, but it
Wow,
held
it's
zero interest for me. Yeah, I have no interest in DC-20. I took a look at it. Tien Tori, who I talk to quite often, she's a big fan of it, but I'm like, no, not for me. Not for me, sadly to say.
Exactly, Dungeon Master. The address they gave you is an industrial park with all the windows broken out. And
Oh,
shit,
look,
and you're just
violence solves everything. Talking shit to people online. Oh, I can do that game too. Look at that.
like, hello, VSC. We were just commenting, sir, on, and we were all involved, on how there's so many people who mention Palladium, but no one's playing the game that we know of. And I was just saying, you would think Max Leal and Heathen Dog would have a Palladium game going, because they love that game. They talk about, that's where the only reason I own the Rift stuff I own is Max Lau talked me into it, and then told me I was wrong because I bought all of the Savage World stuff. And he's like, that's not Rifts. And I was like, I said Rifts on it. I bought it.
Fuck. That's mean, but brilliant.
You know, so he's all like, everyone gets a pistol and stands in a circle, right? Circular firing squad.
Also, I'm not paying $50 for the Core Rules Beta 0.9. You can fucking lick me where I shit. You're selling Core Rules Beta for $50 on PDF? No, thank you.
Wow. Dungeon Master, this is a fellow Canadian of yours. I don't know what's going on with
He's
you.
not a Canadian. He's an American who translocated, dude.
Bear likes to complain about shit. It's part of his
Part
charm.
of being fucking Gen X. And you know what? The better part is at least I don't talk shit about other people all the time, VSC. Unlike you. So what do you want me to do about it?
The only person he talks shit about is you, though.
All right, now.
Oh, well. Palladium against the Dark Master, Harn, so on. I liked against the Dark Master. The only part
I played
of
it. I ran games. I have no issue with Palladium. Against the Dark Master sitting up there on my shelf. I supported it. I fucking know the writers, and it's a great game, and I ran it live for people. Harn, I love fucking Harn. What are you talking about? I've been trying to convince people to play fucking Harn. So stop your bullshit, VSC, and pick another fucking fight, because I am not your fucking Huckleberry today. Got it?
Wow.
Here, fuck off, VSC. Welcome to my block list. I have no time for your bullshit. Zero.
Hmm.
No
This
one
is
likes
where I
you,
do
dude.
the-
Everyone hates you. Everyone talks shit about you because you come in and you do shit like this. Learn to read a fucking room.
This is where I do my Rodney
I
King.
know. I'm sorry, James. Your show and I should be more
Wrong.
respectful. I apologize, sir.
Oh no, it wasn't that. I was saying, can't we all just get
Nope.
along?
Bye-bye. I'm done with that guy.
Yeah.
I've never had an
Yeah,
issue.
but you have an issue with nobody, man. You get along with people that like other people want to light on fire. You're a very forgiving human being, James.
Well, I mean, you know, life is young or short, and it's like and I don't know if Dungeon Minister even stuck around for all this, but it's like the older I get, the less offended by stuff I become. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's facing my own mortality, realizing that I might have 20 years left if I don't die of some weird cancer next year. And I'm just like, you know.
My thing is I just have no time for people who all they know how to do is shit on other people. They don't know how to do anything else. They don't know how to fucking lift people up. They don't know how to say good things. All they can do is talk shit. Non-fucking stop from the safety of their keyboard. So fuck them. I have no time for their bullshit. Fuck 'em.
Okay. Well,
That's the same exact issue I ended up with Justin.
Sorry, what?
That's the same exact issue. Like, I pretty much had the same exact issue with Justin that Bear had. It's like, do you ever shut up about being a negative nasty butthole? Do you have any positivity in your body? So I ended up having a meltdown on Shadow's channel, and Justin immediately kicked me out of everything in his life. And Shadow told me, until you get your shit together, don't bother coming back. It's like, really?
Shit happens, dude. What are you gonna do?
Green, I'm going to tell you a joke. Do you know how you can tell if somebody is a combat vet or an infantryman? I count down. Just wait a couple minutes. They'll tell you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And with that joke out of the way, I was a combat infantryman or a combat veteran infantryman. I went to Iraq. And then I served until I was retired out as a firefighter. So at this point in my life, I'm just like, now, don't get me wrong. There's some shit that pisses me off. Number one, calling out day of game to tell me you're not coming to the game because you just don't feel like leaving your house when you live less than a mile from me. It's like that, but it doesn't bother me because of me personally being bothered. It bothers me because there's 7 other people around the table that were waiting on your punk ass. So obligations were made. We all agreed to meet at a time, on a date, at a place. And you don't have a good excuse. I mean, unless somebody's dying or blood is literally dripping out of an orifice, I don't want to hear it. You know? Like, if you're sick, don't bring your flu or cold to me. I don't want it, but you get what I'm saying. You once had a heated disagreement with the gift wrap department at Grace.
The fuck is that?
Well, I understand everything but Grace Bros because I don't know what a Grace
Me neither.
Bro
I don't know
is.
what that is.
It must be Australian though. That's James
that
L.
makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
James L's Australian,
Which is not a real place, as we all know. It's a bullshit made up fake place, but that's okay. We'll play along. We'll pretend they're real. Fair dinkum to right, all that good stuff.
See, I think people say that because they just hope Australia is not real. Because if it is, the scary things that actually exist in this world, tarantulas the size of horses, a flea poison enough to send you to heaven. Yeah, scary things in Australia. I hope it's not real too.
Let me tell you something. I currently live in the only place on the entire globe where crocodiles and alligators coexist together.
Yeah, that's like some unnatural biological.
Well, because
whatever.
I guess they figured that one or the other would have killed the other, you know, but not in
Well,
Florida.
everywhere else in the world, it is one or the other, and where they're together, there's obviously a dominant one to the other. But in Florida, it's like, hey, George, hi, Bob.
I came home and my wife was in bed with a spider. They get pretty big down there, James. I can honestly say, and like I always tell people when they ask me about Florida, I always say, if you see water and you can't see the bottom of it, assume there's an alligator in it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just how it is down here. I mean,
for a few years, I considered moving down to that area in the South, and it's like, I actually did my research, and it's like when Like obviously James lives there, but as someone from the north, even I know if you can, even if you can see the bottom, presume there's an alligator there because it's just or a crocodile because it's freaking camouflaged at the bottom.
They are very good at being camouflaged. An 11-foot alligator can lay in some freaking cattails and you won't see him until,
The only place where spiders have teeth and women don't. Wow.
I remember some comedian described Australia as a giant trailer park where all the guys had mullets and drove around in like beat up Trans Ams that had stickers on the back that said no fat chicks allowed. And that was the whole country.
That Australia's gone. That Australia sounded like fun. Now it's like super fucking lefty bullshit in Australia, sadly.
I was watching Bering the other night and he was talking about this Australian couple where the girl pretends to be a dog.
I don't watch Bering anymore. Oh.
And I was like, okay, so the girl walking around on her hands and knees with a fake tail pretending to be a dog, that's weird, right? But the guy having sex with the girl that walks around pretending to be a dog, that's like makes you want to vomit. Because it's like, does this guy got a fetish about having sex with dogs?
Jesus, that's gonna hurt.
Because
At the very least,
that's
a
really
furry.
bad. That's not good. And they were Australian, and they invited one of their friends over and explained what they do. And their friend was a total chat about it. He was just like, "What?"
Well, in their defense, the world is upside down for them, so all the blood is just rushing to the brain every day.
Well, I'm not saying you ain't got weird shit like that in North America.
Well,
either.
we got plenty of weird shit in North America.
In this particular instance, though, Bering was talking about an Australian couple, and he had his wife on. I don't know what her actual name is. He always calls her
Sugar
Sugar
Tits.
Tits. And apparently she's got a channel, but I've never
Yeah, her
seen
channel's
it.
good.
But I've been watching Bering since before he got sued by Fantasy Adventure Island. Because he was using the bear, which I used to watch that show. I don't give a shit. That show was funny.
Don't know it.
It's a Canadian show where they took a bunch of stereotype cartoon characters and they put them on an island and try to get them killed. And like the chef is this big, super muscled up black dude that's always yelling at
Total
him.
Drama
And he
Island.
kind of looked like Capone from like Aliens. And then like the lead guy is like the guy from Survivor. He's like, "What's going on, all you guys today?" And the bear's in there always effing with them, and they're in Canada somewhere. And there's always like the punk rock dude, the goth chick, the country girl, all the typical whatevers. It was hilarious. But Bering was using the bear from that.
Yeah.
AV out of sync. Probably not Nerdy Ogre. I would bet it's you. It probably has something to do with riffs. How close are you to your nearest ley line?
Exactly.
Well, ley lines themselves aren't so bad. It's the nexus points. Like Raven's on a nexus point, and it fucks with her technology every day.
It also makes trees in her
Right.
yard disappear.
So if Nerdy Ogre's living on a nexus line, then yeah. He's practically in a different plane of existence trying to contact us through technology. Kind of like James L. He's practically in a different working on stuff for Silver Bayonet. That's a good game. I like everything by that designer though, McCullough or whatever.
Also, by the way,
Yeah, the
just to clear
Trinity
the air-
guys are
just to
retarded.
clear the air,
The game is still kind of cool, but the creators of that game are
what,
just
Trench
absolutely
Crusade? Yes,
stupid.
they are. Based on everything I've heard, not even played. Just to clear the air, that comment he made about me complaining about Harn, I said what's not fun about Harn is the same thing I don't like about most gritty places games, which is that basically you can die from an infection, and that's not exciting fucking role playing for me. So fuck that. But I love Harn. I have Harn on the thing. I've had the current owner of Harn, not the creator because he's dead, but the current owner of Harn on my channel 3 fucking times. So I'm sorry.
Bear,
No, I
you
need to
don't
apologize
defend
because I
yourself,
lost my
man.
temper. I got mad and I shouldn't have done that. It was very, very inappropriate of me, and I apologize. And I'm not giving you a Canadian sorry. I'm giving you a real apology because it's your show and I should be more respectful.
So what you're saying is you were out of line and I'm retarded.
I didn't say you were retarded, but that's the way you want to roll with it, buddy. That's hey, listen, champ.
I mean, I thought you said when Canadians say they're
No.
sorry,
When we
it's their
say,
way of saying,
"Oh, sorry," that's us telling you you're
Oh,
fucking
sorry.
retarded. When we actually apologize, we're apologizing.
Look, violence solves everything is a big boy, and while I don't want to side with anyone, it is observable in this case that he was the one that fired the first shot across the bow. He came in and didn't even say hello. He immediately went after Bear by name.
And that's okay.
Not really super cool, but
It
okay.
happens. And I'm big enough to go, fuck it, it's over, moving on. But I just wanted to clarify. Maybe it starts this bullshit. Bear hates Harn. I don't fucking hate Harn.
James L., you know I've spurged out like a year or two ago, a couple of times.
I think I saw you spurg out once, and I was just like, God damn, what happened to James?
There's a guy that I actually like and hate at the same time.
J. Scott Garrity?
His name is Raven.
Oh, yeah. I don't see him.
He's been on my channel multiple times. He and I both love Battletech and everything. But the problem is when he joined my Discord, he was that guy that if no matter what anyone posted, he had the smart ass comment to it. And then I was doing a live stream and he was in the comment just being a dick. And I told him he was a communist and he needs to shut up. And, you know, no one gives a shit about what he's got to say about anything. And so he unfollowed me for about the 5th time because he was the kind of guy that if I would say something he didn't like, he'd unfollow, but then he'd refollow. Now, to the benefit, I played Raven 1v1 Battletech by Harebrained Schemes on Steam a couple of times and whipped his ass. So there is no doubt he might know all kinds of lore and shit, but there's no doubt who the better mech pilot is.
Okay.
So there you go. But no, it's like he's ex-military, he plays Battletech, he's a gamer. You would think that he and I would just be in love with each other, right? But he lives in Colorado. He's super left. He's part black, but he acts like he's straight from Kenya. But only if you say something he could take offense at.
Straight out of Kenya,
a
motherfucker named Ugatu.
Right. But the problem is I've had him on my stream and he's as pale skinned as I am. So it's like, okay, so you might have a little African blood in you. I give you that. I thought I did until I got a DNA test. But, you know, it's like, dude, you are way too white to be trying to BLM my ass. You know what I mean?
Well, we were talking about it earlier before even all this bullshit went down. Thank you quickly. That's very kind of you, sir. I'm Canadian. We don't want to fight, but if you push us, we'll fucking just start swinging for the throat. You know, like we don't fuck around. It's in our nature. But anyway,
it's always the quiet ones.
I'm not quiet. I was going to say something. I was going to say. I can't remember what I was going to. Anyway, look, James, you and I don't agree about everything. We know that about each other. But there's enough.
Oh yeah, we're pretty much very far apart on religion
but we can still be friends and talk about shit and have a good time and enjoy each other's company without being rude, mean, and shitty to each other. And so we were talking about this earlier before that whole thing happened about how when they're behind the keyboard they get real tough, right?
We were talking about that. That is so interesting. That was something we were talking about.
There it is. Fate shows itself and lets us know what's going on, and that's just the way it is, right? So it doesn't fucking matter. It's all good. It's all good, but again, I do apologize because it's your show. I'm in your house, and I should be a better guest, and that was bad of me.
James L., you're 100% right, and it's just like And I tried to tell him so many times, look, you don't have to comment and defend every stupid meme that someone posts. No one gives a shit. Talk Baltech. We'll be fine. If somebody posts something, don't worry about it. This is a guy that when I wore the shirt that said never forget and it showed the Hagia Sophia and said Constantinople, he posted on the video saying it's Istanbul now. And it's
not
like
Constantinople. Yes, it's Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah, but the thing is the reason behind it is just to be a
Well,
dick.
and also I think the other thing we need to keep in mind is it's nobody's business but the Turks, and that's all that matters. What a fucking 1800s thing to pick a fight about! Like, Jesus Christ, that's insane, James.
I didn't fight. I didn't say a word to him. You know, one of your Canadian brothers said he was going to unfollow me because I talked shit about Black Magic Craft, and I didn't recognize the name or anything. So I was like, "Well, I'm sure you'll be missed, man. I don't even know who
the
you
fuck
are."
is Black? What is Black Magic Craft? You mean like the actual art of black magic, or is that a YouTube channel?
It's a YouTube channel where a guy makes terrain, and he's actually super skilled at making terrain.
Okay.
But he made one of these cringy virtue signaling, like when the whole tariff thing started. He made this cringy elbows out, blah, blah, blah video. And I was just like, and I made a video response, and I was like, that's cringy as shit. We're not trying to take you over. We're never going to invade you. Stop it. It's like, what are you thinking? You know, it's like,
in perspective. You as an American find it cringy and annoying. I, as a Canadian, am surrounded by it. Elbows up, elbows up, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, have you all gone stupid? They've all lost their minds. They're about to re-elect the same fucking government, just with a new figurehead, that has spent the last 10 years bankrupting our fucking country and killing us and making life hard because Trump bad. What the fuck? I can't.
I don't know what it is, but I will say that there is something about that man that makes people insane.
I'm telling you.
And like, even when he says stuff that I think is stupid, I'm always like, but who cares? He's talking shit. You know what I mean? He's talking shit. And yeah, like he said, yeah. A good friendship should be forever. But unfortunately, even in my real life, after 2016, I lost friends. Because they're like, I can't believe you would vote for that guy. And I was like, as opposed to the other guy? I mean, and this is when I was still considering myself a Democrat. I mean, I voted for Obama. You know what I'm saying? Because I would literally voted for anyone over McCain. But that's a whole nother story, right? But it's like, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were talking all that crazy shit. And I said, hey, well, my buddy, that's a super leftist. I said, we dealt with your guy for 4 years. And now you get to deal with our guy for 4 years. And we'll see what happens in 4 years. But at the end of it all, it don't matter.
No.
Right? Because he's not going to invade Canada. He might buy Greenland. But, I mean, honestly, none of this shit matters.
Exactly. It doesn't fucking matter.
I wish I could get that through my father's head. Recently, he's been saying shit like, "Oh, if I could take out the president, even if I was killed, I'd do it." It's like, what the fuck?
There's something. James just said it best. There's something about Donald Trump that makes
it's him.
Yeah, he just sets people off in a weird way. And if you spent a good part of your life in a world where people fucked with each other, right? Like, the 80s, or private security, bouncers, military, police, what have you, you see clearly what he's doing. And you just go, all right, but what's your long plan, sir? Well, it's nice you're doing all this bullshit. What's your long plan? Where are you going with this? But if you don't.
My nickname for him around the house with my wife is I call him the king of the
Yeah,
trolls.
absolutely. But if you don't have that,
because that's what he's doing. In a place,
and that's the thing. If you never spent time in a place where people fuck with you like that all the time, he just seems like the meanest, craziest fucking person you ever saw, and he's evil, and he's this, and he's that, and it's like, okay, fine. But I don't judge people by what they say. I judge people by what they fucking do.
And tell your dad if he wants to understand better, just go and stay a little while up in Queens.
Yeah.
Oh no, he literally won't.
Hang out in Queens for about a week. He'll
No,
get
he
it.
literally won't, because he's one of those people. He's got to stay in his little narrow box, and if you even suggest anything outside of it, he throws a childish temper tantrum.
I'll tell you what's weird, and this is way off topic, and I apologize, but I saw a study the other day on YouTube where Gen Z is the most conservative-leaning American generation in like recorded history, and the most liberal-leaning is the boomers. And they're all going to die relatively soonish because they're all in their 70s at least. And it's like, okay, things are going to be wild. I can get you Tom Greenland.
Tom Greenland. I love Tom Greenland.
Even though I know that James L gets like tired of me sometimes because he does not like to get involved in political talk. And you know what? I don't disagree with him. It's like we said our piece. And if you're a guy on the left and you hate Trump, you okay, that's fine. You hate Trump. Just realize that he is a troll, and that all of the stuff that the media you watch tells you he's going to do, he's not going to do because he literally can't. He can't. There are laws.
But
James anyway, moving on.
James L, don't bring up Kamala. Leave her alone. She deserves her time off.
Yeah, poor Kamala.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Though I honestly, there is a part of me that was kind of like, what would President Why Not be like? What would that be like?
Honestly, I mean, life would go on. People would get up the next day and go to work, and whatever. That's the thing that. Yeah, that's just the thing. Geopolitics, yeah, James L. How do you feel about that Chinese naval group skirting around your whole island the other day?
It's like every time I see these reports about what China's doing down there, I'm just like, are you really seriously thinking no one's going to take a fucking swing eventually? Like, are you really that stupid? And their army's not as good as they make it out to be. It's a great army on paper. The problem is it was made in China.
They're constantly going on about, or they're constantly pissing Vietnam
and the Philippines.
Yeah, because they keep building fake
islands in their waters. Yeah.
They own all the ocean around it.
I'm telling you, jeez.
And Vietnam and the Philippines are like, what? No. It's like the main problem with the old order seems to be waste and protecting America's interests. Yeah, which is why people are freaking out. But they can be happy. They can stop hating Elon. He is no longer with Doge. He has retired, or is retiring on the 1st. He set up what he wanted to set up. He did what he wanted to do. I don't know. Maybe Doge will be ran by big balls now. But Elon's going to go back to concentrating on knocking up another 15 thoughts and building rockets or something. Learn to read the room laughing. Oh, Shark, you're a Marine. Nothing offends you. You just lay in your bed at night dreaming of killing
and eating the best crayons.
And eating the best
gourmet crayons.
Gourmet crayons.
Ah, so Crayola.
With Dijon mustard on the crayon.
Okay, describe your sex life using only D&D spells. Are you fucking kidding me? Like the obvious.
Oh, well, that's.
Themselves.
Well, I only need one for that one. Sleep.
I was going to say Mage Hand.
Haste. Right? I mean, people got shit to do, guys. I love these movies that have these unrealistic, like, we made love for 8 hours. I'm sitting here like, I don't know. After about 10 minutes, I start wondering what's on TV.
What was that fucking line I heard one time? It was the prostitute's motto: "Get on, get off, get off."
Right? It's like, fearful. That's not a spell in the book. You can't just, well, you could make up your own spells if you're a master wizard. Fearful.
Jesus Christ.
God, your poor wife. Like, if every time you get off, you're crying, your poor wife. I will give you this free advice, James. Don't call her mom as you're doing your thing. They don't like that.
Oh, okay. Wow. My brain was like, don't call her mom. Like, and don't call her mother. Like, who calls the wife's mother during sex? God.
Man, that is even weirder than what I said.
Seriously.
I prefer to avoid being around negative, bitter people. Me too.
Amen.
I think most people do.
I-
But here's the thing. Bear got accused of being a negative, bitter person, but I don't see it.
He was just
I
looking
don't
for a
see
fight,
it.
dude. He was just being him. He was just looking for trouble.
And I like violence solves everything. As far as every time we've been in a group chat together, what if she is your mom? Sweet home
Well, hang
Alabama.
on. It is Australia, so.
Well, Australia is just Alabama, but like a whole country.
And don't forget, Leia was from Alderaan, which is the Mississippi of the space.
Yeah. Right? It's as if millions of inbred maniacs cried out all at once, and then we're suddenly.
What did they say? Okay, thanks, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it's as if millions of brother kissing sisters cried out.
Shark is way back on the chat, eh? He's like 20 minutes ago.
Maybe there's just stuff that we've been so busy talking about other things. No. I bought the second edition Palladium Fantasy Rulebook because it was $20 on sale. I read through the whole thing. I made a character, and then I gave it away to my niece because I was like, no. Because basically, not to talk bad about Palladium, too bad, but in my opinion, and again, guys, I've become a very, my gaming has become very much the simpler games. The juice ain't worth the squeeze with Palladium. All of the additional shit they added on isn't worth it. It doesn't do anything better than BX D&D or OSE or any other game.
Well,
So
as much as I'm a Palladium,
Australia is Alabama with more poison and the same amount of it.
as someone who loves Palladium, I will say this with full honesty: there is no game that is actually better than any other game. There is people's preferences for the way the games play, but is one game actually better than another? Not truly.
Like simple games. Yeah, that's why when I was saying Crafting Gamer, I prefaced it with I like less crunchy, simple, like I said, character on an index card games.
I would like to point out,
and that was not it.
Again, the I Hate Palladium school. We'll start here with 2 versions of Rift's Palladium Fantasy and just keep going all the way down the line. You understand? Like, I hate Palladium. Oh my God, I can't stand There's nothing on my shelf I hate.
Australia is South Florida. It's become that way. We've got boa constrictors, green pythons, or anacondas, reticulated pythons.
Oh God,
Nile crocodiles, Florida crocodiles, alligators, AIDS monkeys that will give you herpes that's so virulent you will die from it, and iguanas everywhere.
Yeah.
They pay people down there to kill iguanas.
Yeah, I actually found out something
I
not
mean-
that long ago, which I thought was kind of interesting. In North America, North Idaho, I don't think it counts for Canada, but in like America, USA, North America, North Idaho has one of the largest, if not the largest, non-tarantula spiders in the country, which actually compares to several Australian species in
I'm
both
just
their
gonna put you to bed with
toxicity
one
levels.
simple thing. I'm going to put you to bed with one size of spider, and James L will confirm. Huntsman. Essentially the size of a dinner plate.
Oh, right, those. I was going to say huntsman.
But they're
Oh,
not
yeah,
poison.
yeah. Those. Well, no. I'm talking about.
Now, my favorite spider and one I used to play with a lot are those little fuzzy jumping spiders.
Those things are actually cute.
Like if I was out in the field and I saw one running up a fence post, I'd put my hand out and get it to jump on me, and like just let it run across.
Well, they're
me.
actually cute and very social, actually.
But they're very small, Bear, and they're really
I'm an
fuzzy,
arachnophobe, please.
like super
Please.
cute. And the one I'm talking about looked like a fox. It was that fox red color. I mean, it was adorable, and it had the cutest like metallic green eyes. I was just like, man. But you
Yeah.
know, some people just don't like
I am
spiders.
an arachnophobe. I just don't care for the fuckers.
I'm a two-part arachnophobe. I'm fine if they're got fat legs or like little jumping spider stuff like that.
Jesus,
The-
can we stop talking about fucking spiders? Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Like, that's like someone says, I'm an arachnophobe. You
So
go,
in
I was
the
at the top
spider
of the
talk
canyon
on-
looking
on
down the
one
rope
important
bridge.
thing.
Like, stop.
Yeah, one important thing. I love
Good.
spiders, but outside of that, yeah,
Red
like
fur's a
I
real
name
pain in
them
the
and
ass
then
to
tell my wife
chainsaw.
I can't kill them because they're pets. Because if I name it, it's a pet. So she disagrees, though. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the thing with palladium is if you're the guy that likes palladium, well, like palladium. It's obvious that Sechi or whatever played a lot AD&D first edition and then said to himself, you know, there's some stuff I like better. And palladium is his house ruled version of AD&D.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have fun,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I can't say much. The game I'm working on is pretty much a house brewed version of Palladium.
Everything is a house brewed version of something. Even D&D was a house brewed version of Bronstein, which was a house brewed version of something. Back until the time when cavemen for fun were chucking rocks at each other's head. I mean, you know, nothing new under the sun.
Well, so that begs
as
the
they
question:
say.
would RPGs exist if women didn't exist? Because I know we had the conversation. Technology wouldn't exist as is if women didn't exist. Men would still be living in caves happily. Ooh, big stick, hot meat, me happy.
Probably not, because like
If women didn't exist, there'd be no babies, and the human race would have died out real fucking fast.
yeah, but we were saying that we would reproduce by like spudding or something.
Oh, okay. Well, then we wouldn't be driven by the kill hunter instinct at all as a species. Therefore, we would never have developed civilization, and we would certainly have never developed the need for pastimes. We just wander around pollinating. So, no,
Yeah, pretty much.
no, role playing games would not exist if the women did not exist. No.
That was my point. If it weren't for a lady telling Ugg the caveman that the cave was cold, then I mean, would we have fire?
Thragog's man get fire and tiger skins. You always think about
Right,
fucking Thragog
exactly. And
man.
the caveman's like, oh damn, I better figure some shit out.
And the
right?
first murder was killed
And
when he
it's
went out and
like-
he killed Thragog's man just to shut this shit up.
And I honestly believe that women have been behind every technological invention ever. Because every scientist or inventor that ever invented anything probably had a wife that was complaining about a problem that he invented the thing to solve. Probably. I mean, that's very simple of because, and this was the point. I was walking around the woods up on my property and I realized that if I had an axe and some basic tools, I could be perfectly happy just wandering around the woods until I either died or not died. I mean, I would sleep in caves or build a little shelter, or whatever. It just, and I think that's how men are. We would just hunt, every now and then stop to drop a spore off so that, like an orc, a new human would pop up, and then we would wander about. And if we encountered humans we liked, we'd be like, hey, what's up, bros? And then you might hang out with those humans. But would you build a bunch of shit? Probably not. You just be sitting around the campfire roasting venison or
What
something.
you're saying
telling stories.
is nagging gave us civilization.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
That is what I am saying. That, yeah, return to monkey, exactly. That if it were not for all of the things, we wouldn't have done anything. Because here's the thing, men don't need to do anything. You can drop men in the middle of the wilderness, they figure that shit out. And then the next thing you know, they're running around in freaking deer hides, spearing fish. And I mean, hell, a lot of natives are still living that way. The difference is when the native wives started talking shit, the native men were like, yeah, whatever. And just kept doing their own
I still
thing.
love that Survivor where they had men versus women.
Oh,
Day
my
two,
God.
the men have a camp set up and fire and food, and the women are hiding under a tarp in the rain and eventually going over and trying to offer sex for food. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, holy fuck.
Right. By them. Well, that's because we exist as a perfect complement to each other in theory, not necessarily in practice. As a person who has been divorced, what's up, Leth? How you doing, bro? But in theory, we do. Like, I know that. Yes, if I walk into a room and it's really tore up, I will fix it. But a lot of the cleaning I do around the house is because my wife asks me, can you do these things? And I say, okay. Because if she didn't tell me, then I don't know if I would even know or even think about it. You know what I mean? I actually think the reason role-playing games appeal to civilized man so much is it gives us the opportunity for a little while every week or so to pretend that we're still great adventurers in the wilderness, surviving on our wits with nothing but a sword in hand. Which is why Conan is like, if you look at people who are super fans of R.E. Howard Conan, it's like 99% dudes and maybe 1%.
Well, I think the whole man wanting to adventure thing is pretty hard coded in the DNA, because almost everybody I know at one point in their life, especially as children, said they wanted to go on like a D&D adventure.
Well, because for thousands of years, every year after the planting was done, you and all of your bros would get together and go to the next valley and raid and rampage the shit out of whoever lived there. And then die or not die, however it worked. And then you do that like once a year. That's just what we did. The Vikings, everybody did it, right? And now we're civilized and you're not allowed to raid the next village over and steal all their hot women and gold. So we have a role-playing game where we can pretend to go into a dungeon and recover gold and take out enemies. And, you know, this is why 6E D&D, which is designed to appeal to millennial men and women, is all about going to the prom, buying coffee, hanging out, and trying to work through the trauma your dad gave you. And old school D&D is about mugging orcs for silver and trying to hook up with the bar wench. It's just an entirely different way of thinking about things, you know? And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
Did I baffle you with that link I just sent?
No, I was just watching.
Dude, where do you see the kick?
I did.
Dude, he fucking puts that guy out. Like, just out. That's the thing. So he was 9 years older than this guy, right? And the guy was, this Badir was being a complete prick to him in every fucking thing they did. And when they got in the ring, this old dog just taught that young fuck a lesson, man. Just fucking beat him, you know? I like that. I like when that happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
It's like, fuck. And I love that reset kick, reset him to put him back to factory settings. It's like, yep.
Yeah, that's roundhouse heel to the
I
side
don't know
of
what
the
the
head.
fuck that was,
Jeez.
dude. Like, he did a weird drop down, brought his. It was almost like a capoeira kick or something. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, I studied American Kempo, and we had no high or spinning kicks at all. Every kick was aimed at the knee, the insole, the shin, or it was a counter move. Like if they're kicking you, you know, stick your foot out and catch their kick. But the whole point of it was, I mean, Kempo is basically just organized street fighting. They just teach you to punch people in the throat and grab their nuts and shit. And I'm not even joking. But that kick, I've never seen a kick like that. But when I saw it, I was like,
That's a fucking kick, man. Let me tell you.
yeah, reset the factory condition. The young guy will think twice before he starts talking a bunch of shit.
The only time I seen a kick like that was, well, it brings a little more credence to the guy's story. A guy who was a bit skinny, in my opinion, who claimed to be a Navy SEAL on leave, seeing his family. And some guy was talking shit, and he just, in this case, he didn't round kick him. He straight kicked him in the like, kind of half lifted up his leg and kind of half brought his leg over his over to his face. I think I'm describing it wrong, but anyway, it was more of a.
That sounds like a standard karate.
Yeah, and
kick.
the guy was
knee up
on the
and
ground with just
knee
one
to
plot
feet
with the
extend
yeah.
the
Was
It
it,
was just like
an
that.
outward kick or was it a hooking axe kick?
That would be a hooking axe kick from the
Yeah,
arm
so
movement you made.
that's a very karate move. You bring the leg up and then you hook it over. That's a whole other style. I did Taekwondo, Ryukyu Kempo, a little bit of Hungar, a little bit of Shotokan, and that's a very karate kick. That's not a kung fu.
Well,
Nice.
the guy claimed
Joe.
to be,
Yeah,
a
I like-
Marine. That's all I know.
The Kings of War skeletons are some of the best out there, and especially for the price.
Don't know 'em.
They're really good. Mantic skeletons are.
And I've
really
been looking at different. I haven't been looking at skeletons like that. I've been looking at. There's a really awesome, very gothic, very religious, Titan-sized construct from. What the fuck is it? I got the site right here because I've been looking at it almost daily. What the crap is it? Fuck. Come on. Conquest Games. It's like this giant. It's almost like a giant.
nerd plays
Yeah,
that.
it's almost like a giant angelish statue, and it looks it. If you were to paint it up right, it would just fit within like some sort of construct, some sort of Titan within Warhammer 40K. Plus, I just love the design. It would be an amazing display piece all by itself because it is beautiful.
I will say this, Shark. What you just said is mostly true because a lot of the ladies that I ended up dating back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, when I was doing the whole goth thing, they were the super pro feminine, blah, 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 until they met me. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know.
And then I fucked them till they
Because
was
I was
sissy again.
not bragging, but I was one of the most masculine dudes they probably ever met. I come rolling in looking all dangerous and shit, and they were just like all about it. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, James, he's drunk and Irish, which I would have thought would be like, isn't that the same thing?
Ouch. My ancestry is offended.
Yeah, you're Irish too, aren't
Heart.
you?
Irish,
Yeah.
Scottish, Danish. What a weird fucking mix. As someone once said, one part of my ancestry didn't run fast enough. That's how that worked out.
Oh,
That's why I was gonna say. You said what a weird mix, and I was just thinking, not when you
Yeah,
think about it.
It's one of my ancestors ran too fast one way or not fast enough the other. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I have. We ended up like being a mutt.
Women really want only one thing: total domination over the Qing
Yeah.
dynasty.
Yeah, when we went to check my family's DNA, what surprised us is how much like we knew we were mutts. We had German, this and that. We apparently even have a little bit of Danish. But what surprised us the most is somehow a little bit of Irish and Asian ended up in our bloodline. We have no idea where either of those came from.
Well, clearly,
Well, grandparents.
Clearly, that came
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
Orient, sir.
I'm on a meme board. Sometimes I share the memes and sometimes not, but it's Orthodox Bros. And it like they had a meme up the other day, and it was like guys only want one thing, and it's disgusting. And then at the bottom, it showed the guys, and they were stuck, and one of them was pointing, and it was like the reconquest of Constantinople. Because the women don't know what the guys want, but you know the mom's telling the daughter they only want one thing, and it's disgusting. And then the dudes are all, and that's a common meme template.
Oh yeah,
And then
one of my
dudes, and it's like one dude's jumping off the second story of a building or some shit.
two of my favorites will always be that with regards to mom doing it's disgusting. Will be it was basically D&D night. They show a picture of D&D night, and the other one is just shows like Warhammer 40K Nurgle army.
Yeah, guys only want one thing, and it's disgusting. You see two nerds over a 40K table. It's like, you know, it's kind of like the other meme I love is the couple in bed, and the woman's like, I bet he's thinking about other women. And the dude's like, so if toy dinosaurs are made out of plastic, and plastic is made out of petroleum, and petrol comes from dinosaurs, does that make toy dinosaurs real dinosaurs?
That's a good one. I've seen that.
And I love that because it's so it's funny because it's true. Because I mean, a lot of times I'll be sitting there and my wife will be like, "What are you thinking about?" And I'll be like, "Nothing." And it's like, guess what he's thinking about? Nothing. He's just sitting.
It's like there's an excellent joke. It's basically if guys have no filter, like if they have ADHD. Bill Wingall says it great. His wife's just blabbing at him, and he just says the first thing goes to his mind as he sees a dead buzzard on the side of the road. I wonder what eats that. It's like that's totally the guy thought process. It's just this random ass shit.
I hope that James L does not have any koala because I saw a thing on YouTube on Casual Geographic, and apparently koalas, a lot of them got herpes.
I thought it was gonorrhea
or some shit like that. Yeah, apparently they're filthy little creatures.
Oh yeah,
and they also might be the stupidest mammals on
Nope.
Well, they. Oh, which one is then? Out of curiosity.
humans.
humans.
Okay, fair. But no, I don't know about the stupid part. I won't say anything about that. But the filthy animals, they wipe their own shit all over their fur.
They eat it.
I didn't know they ate it, but I knew they wiped their own shit all over all of their fur.
Rabbits do that too. It's an actual thing.
It's a
They
protection from
they
predators.
eat everything twice so that they can get every bit of nutrient
Yeah,
out
but it's
of it.
also that it's a protection from predators. Like not a lot of predators.
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia,
Okay, not
there we go.
herpes. Chlamydia.
He knows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they've done dissections of dead koalas, obviously, and their brains have almost no wrinkles. And they're like, wow, this koala's brain's super smooth. What's up? And then they looked at the brain of a killer whale, and it's more wrinkled than ours
Yeah.
is. So it's like, is a killer whale smarter than a human? Could be. Don't know.
Well, they
Maybe.
still haven't figured out what the wrinkles mean yet. Some say it's sign of an indication of memory. Some say it's an indication of intelligence.
May I say,
True.
and not to piss off anyone, it's merely for comedy purposes. Clearly, killer whales are not smarter than humans because you think they'd have figured out fucking outboard motors by now.
Oh, they did. In Italy, they try to rip them off of boats all
Yeah,
the
but
time.
in the Pacific Northwest, they keep running into them all the time and getting cut up.
Yeah, they're weird. In the Pacific Northwest, a female killer whale was spotted wearing a dead fish on her head. And like within a week, all of the rest of the killer whales in our region were swimming around with the dead fish on their head. And they're like, why? Why are they doing this? And in Italy, they figured out that it's fun to rip the transom off of sailboats. So they just, and it's like, because nothing they do is instinctual, everything they do is a learned action. You know what I mean? Like when they beach themselves, only the killer whales that live down there do that. And they teach their young ones to do that, and only 1 in 10 will. The other 9, they'll do it, and when they get back in the water, they'll never do it again because they get so terrified being out of the water. But 1 in 10 is like, oh yeah, we're doing
I can
this
hunt shit up
you know?
on the sand this way? Fuck yeah. You know, that's the one you got to watch.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
the problem,
they
child.
Yeah. They listen to their conversations underwater, their whale sounds. And it's like killer whales from BC area have an entirely different whale sound than killer whales from the South Atlantic. It's like, anyway, I could go off, but I'm going to get off of here. It's been a long time. Tuna-free dolphin.
That's great if you're a dolphin. What if you're a fucking tuna?
Right? But I will catch you guys later. Thank you for joining me, both
Take
of
care,
you.
boss.
We had some really good discussions, I think. And so eat shit is, that's not an insult in the rabbit world. They're like, yeah, I will later.
Yeah, and the response is, eat shit too. Like, and rabbits.
Right.